Hi guys, welcome to Occultists Anonymous. If this is your first time here, welcome. We are a bunch of nerds playing Mage the Awakening, this particular game at least. There's another Mage the Awakening Chronicle, and then there's some Blades in the Dark, and then there's another Mage in the Awakening miniseries, and then there's some Star Trek. So there's a couple different things you may have seen us do. This is more or less our bread and butter game, I guess. It's how we made our name. I'm Drew. I run the show and I storytell the mage side of things. I'm here to walk us through some stuff. We're going to say hi, do a little intro, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the game, just in case you're new and didn't see the session 0 stuff, which is basically how the sausage was made. If you don't care about character creation, skip the session 0. But, hang on for the rest of the episode. We're going to go around, kind of introduce everybody real quick and give a very bite-sized introduction for the characters, because why bother introducing them with words when we can actually play them? Well, you guys play them. And we'll just start. But yeah, we're going to go around clockwise. I had to remember my words. And introduce everybody. But before we do that... Well, yeah, actually, we'll go ahead and do that. So we'll start with Ralph, who's our newbie.
How's it going, everyone? This is my first Mage Chronicle with OA, not my first Mage Chronicle in real life. Been playing Mage quite a while. I was excited to join the group in January, play Blades in the Dark, and then Star Trek Adventures. My sausage is a Haitian variety, quite aggressive, committed to breaking boundaries and eliminating oppression. His name is Jean-Paul Pierre Joseph Broussard. He goes by Ungan Cloak because he's the leader of a voodoo cult. And I look forward to showing you all the ways in which voodoo is a representation of the astral and a connection to Goetic Loa.
Heck yeah. And then we'll round over to Craig.
Oh, right. Hi. Craig, you guys, unless you're new, we were from the last Chronicle, where I played Weird. What was her name? That was a lot of fun. This time I'm playing Theodosia Stokes. She is the child of a escaped Romani slave, lived on the road for most of her life. And ended up in the town where we're starting, sort of through happenstance. She is a Moros. Her awakening was in the typical vein of that sort of group of mages. And she's into free will and not being tied down and that sort of thing. And family is a big factor for her. She has a daughter and a partner, and I think that's it.
And we'll meet all of them, well, not today necessarily, but soon. Rounding the corner there, Ash.
Hey, I am playing Gisela Bauer. She is the daughter of an immigrant family that moved over when she was about 9 from Germany, because her dad is convinced that they're cursed, and he's trying to escape. She is an acanthus.
Who is with curses.
Yeah, highly focused on sort of grabbing control of her own fate from whatever might be influencing it.
Cool. And then Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. I've been here since the beginning. And you might also know me as Songbird from the last Chronicle, or that guy that posts weird shit at all hours of the day. I am playing Isabel Sofia Valentin de Munoz y Pilar, a woman of Spanish ancestry, Spanish colonial aristocrats, were her parents, but she was born at the tail end of the Mexican Revolution and has sort of steadily fallen down the rungs of society through various events in her life, and ended up alone in the desert and awakened as a Thyrsis. Found her way back into town, the basics of civilization, and the push and pull of the natural world and humans' impact on it is, I think, where a lot of her interest magically will be.
Cool. So a couple little things before we go into the normal, and yes, Patreons, I know we will get to you. A quick little thing, as you may have heard through these introductions. Yes, we, and anybody feel free to chime in and correct me if I'm wrong here, but we are kind of a bunch of SJWs. But if you're thinking social justice warrior, you're wrong. We're clearly social justice wizards. We are set in.
I'm a warlock.
How dare you call me a wizard?
All right. We are
I
set
shouldn't go through 0 years of barbarian school.
We're playing SJWs. But no, this is set in 1846 Colorado. There are there are a lot of things going on socially, politically, geographically, and that's not even talking about some of the weird supernatural stuff that we're going to get into. If any of this makes you uncomfortable, please let us know. There are some lines that we're not crossing. We have lines and veils and stuff like that. But if you're uncomfortable because we're going to talk about bad things that colonizers did, not sorry. I'm not going to do this every episode. I'm just doing this for the first one. We're going to talk about some of the rough stuff. This is not cowboys and Indians. There are some cowboys in here. They work at the ranch. They muck out poop. And they move a bunch of cows around. That's it. Yes. As Octal said, that we do not sugarcoat or whitewash history here. That said, this is not going to be historically accurate. It is 1846, and we have 6-gun revolvers with bullets, just because that's easier than doing paper cartridges. Yes, I looked this crap up. So yeah, if you feel uncomfortable and this prompts a discussion, I highly suggest that you bring it to Discord, not Twitch chat. Our Discord is eatinto.space. You will notice we have social media stuff, so you can find where our Discord is. Come join us and chat with us. We will more than happy to talk about what stuff, and if we are actually stepping on some toes, we will happily walk stuff back. But if you're just mad that we're pointing out your privilege, hi, white guy here. You can deal with it. Right. So, as always, Occultists Anonymous is sponsored by Roll20, and Onyx Path is hosting us, and our lovely patrons who are probably chomping at the bit, hopefully because they're trolling me with their usernames. Our patrons support us and enable us to do stuff like buy character art that you can see here. We will do more character art in the future as these little newly awakened mages who just look like ordinary people, and one of them totally looks like Belle, but we're not going to talk about that, grow into their power, and they get control over it, and let's be honest, it's going to get a little bit of control over them, and it's going to change them. And so we'll see some updated character stuff, and that's some of what your patron stuff goes towards. The headphones Craig is wearing right now is from you guys. Mics that we're talking into is from you guys. A lot of this is... Yes, the bell. Please, Craig, just ring the bell once for us.
Just once.
Hear it?
No, it didn't transmit at all.
You'll just have to
Noise
believe
suppressed.
us. It's a really good bell. We'll just move on. But yes, that stuff is all thanks to you guys. We really appreciate it. It also lets me pay them.
Can't hear that?
Nope.
No, your noise suppression is killing
noise
it.
suppression.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, it
It'll
allows...
be in the YouTube, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's true. It will be in the YouTube. YouTube guys, there you go. come join us on Twitch and watch this, these shenanigans live.
YouTube exclusive bell noise.
Right.
That's hilarious.
Oh gosh. Yes, and this is basically how most of our games are going to go. Though we'll probably jump into the game a little bit faster in subsequent episodes. Which, by the way, I meant to mention this to the gang. We're just going to take our break whenever. We're just going to go, and then we'll just come back and keep playing. There's not going to be a 2-episode split. So,
Sure.
Yeah, YouTube guys won't even notice. They'll just see one episode. Twitch guys, you know what's up. It'll be a good chance to stand up, stretch your legs, get a drink. But yes.
Sounds good to me.
A very special thank you to all our patrons who have supported us. Many of you who have supported us because we did mage stuff, and then you put up with us playing not mage stuff for like 4 months. Thank you. Thank you to Adele, Al, Alan, Michael, Alexander, Ang Faleth, Bernie, Blood Angel, Brandon, Chris, Daniel, Doc the Doom, Delore, Emil, Funzo Suru Ali, George, Jack, Jenny, Josh, Julian, Camo the New Chronicle Hype. Cat Feathers, Crazy Man 1772, Melissa, Michael, Milo V3, Moku, Neomegas Nova, Parker, Perry, Puppeteer, Riafio, Ryan, Shaxara, Cinna, Terran, The Arcane, The Sacrificed, Thomas, Toast, Usuf Sama, Vortex, Woodfoot, and Zoltan. Thank you all very much for your support. All right, I think that covers all of our like nitty gritty extra stuff. And we can actually play mage now, unless anybody has any. Cool. Ooh. Chat, you good? Okay. Oh, I only have a little bit of anxiety. Welcome to Purgatory Bluff, 1846.
Put on my robe.
Yes, we put on my Rogan Wizard hat. I feel so much better now. No, I did. I mean, I wore my Venom shirt. I feel comfortable.
You're in uniform.
I'm in a safe place. Yes. Yes, we are 1846, Purgatory Bluff, a small mining town in what is in modern day Colorado. During this time, it's basically Texas, leaning into Oklahoma territory. We're not being specific about the specifics. You're not going to go find Purgatory Bluff on the map. What happened to it? I don't know. Maybe we blew it up with prime magic.
Hard to know sometimes, isn't it?
Why prime?
It's the Chronicles of Darkness.
Blown up with any of the 10 Arcana.
It's always prime.
It's always prime. And we'll have a little bit of a cinematic moment here with the drone shot flying in, right?
Ooh, that sounds good.
And
give it to us.
The town is small. It's got a good 10, 20 buildings. You've got a general store. It doesn't have a sign on it. It's just the general store. There's a tavern or a pub or a saloon, depending on who you ask and what language you speak. It's that one. It's the only one. There's no sheriff here with a lockup either. This is a small town. They don't have a mayor. They have a rich white guy named Warner Enright, who basically owns everything around here. You'll meet him, but he's an old British guy who had some money and came out this way to raise cattle and found a silver mine. Now there are 2 silver mines. One is worked by white folks, and the other mine is worked by a bunch of Maroons, black escaped slaves from Haiti who arrived, what did we say, about 2 months ago?
Yeah.
2 months ago, suddenly, out of fucking nowhere. Things were a little bit tense, but now there's a barracks that's been put together, and they're housed over there, and some of the miners are over there, and there's some stuff going on still, but for the most part, everybody's kind of got their own space. Within the town, it's a big mix of people. You have Spanish, you have Mexican, you have a couple Native Americans, you have Germans, you have Romani, you have English folks, because obviously Warner Enright is there, and basically our drone shot, if you can want to continue, passes by this mix of buildings that are basically brick. There's a couple on towards the edge of town, soddies. Thank you, Craig, for introducing me to that term. Kind of low, made of literally sod and grass stacks. Very kind of you would probably look at them and consider them poor peasant hovel type of homes, but they're kind of just put together. There is a bricklayer on the edge of town who is working extra hard to get as many bricks out as possible because there's new people here. And some of these miners have some money and they managed to actually find a woman to marry. These things happen. Or they just want to get out of the barracks surrounded by a bunch of other, sweaty, dirty dudes. And our drone continues out towards, for lack of a better term, is the village green. I say village green in the fact that this isn't really a village and it's not very green, but it's a large center area of shorter grass, very plains of gold grass out around the town. And we have Warner and Wright, which let me go actually to my notes on Conca. Make sure I actually get his description right. That way nobody laughs at me later. But yeah, 55-year-old man. So getting a little bit later into life. Again, this is 1846. So, you're lucky if you hit 60. White guy, blue eyes, a little bit of tan to his skin. He actually does get out. He's got the big house up on the hill with a lot of fenced off land around it. But, he actually does. Well, he doesn't look like he actually works so much as he gets outside. He's got that kind of portly, well-off kind of look. Waistcoat. You can see the little chain leading to a watch. Hi, guys. We're getting the rust off here. Just bear with me.
Just work through it.
And he is standing with his son, who is... we're going to make sure we get the right ages here. 34. So, kind of prime of his life, looking gentleman. And they are speaking in front of a small crowd. That's about as big as you get with Purgatory Bluff. Most of the townsfolk who live and work in the town are, kind of standing on the green. He's not on quite a, it's not on a stage so much as a literal soapbox to just be stood up a little bit higher and be seen. As he is announcing that tomorrow we're going to have a big get together. And put on your best English accent in your voice in your head because I ain't doing that to y'all. As he is announcing that the Enright Bridge that we've been working on for the past several months, probably more than that, but will be completed. The engineers have encouraged me that everything will be fine, that we are now, solid, and some of the issues that we had during the thaw,
construction.
Yeah. And some of the when the waters rose, everything got a little dicey, but everything is fine now. And the bridge will be safe, and so it'll be much easier for us to move goods over across the river to our many farms that support our great town. There's a smattering of applause. Most everybody has seen this bridge. It's a big stone and wood bridge. Admittedly, it looks well built and well put together. It's not all that big. The Purgatorio River is not a wide, it's not the Mississippi. For anybody outside of the US, just look it up. It's a big river. But within that crowd, you have a smattering of people. Anastasio is probably standing alongside his brothers. Arcelia, wait, nope, that's his wife. Hang on, let me get these names right. And I promise this will be better in the future, folks, when I actually have all my characters memorized. But yes, Anastasio standing with Jorge and Juan Carlos Bartolomeo, who, while they don't run the town, between the three brothers being very involved in kind of everything, if they're not the actual leaders of the town, they're probably the center core. They know everything that's going around. They like each other, so there's no like sibling. Well, there's a little bit of sibling rivalry, but they know each other. They like each other. Two of them are married, making Anastasio, by the way, the bachelor in town, and they're quite pleased with this, especially because Juan Carlos. Wait, hang on, is that right? Yeah, Juan Carlos is one of those farmers across the bridge. And so this makes coming over to visit considerably less arduous, because previously you're talking about crossing a river, which, I mean, okay, it's a river, you just swim across it, but that can be dicey. And yeah, you don't necessarily want to do that. And moving goods back and forth, this would be so much easier. There's talk already coming from... Let me back it up.
We all played Oregon Trail. We know how dangerous fording the river can be.
Exactly that. We have, Arcelia standing alongside Isabel and speaking with... I don't have Arcelia linked up. Who's the name of the woman who owns the tavern, Chris?
Henriette? Say it your French way.
Oh, Henrietta?
Yeah.
Henriette. Yes, Madame Henriette, who, tough, very classic, as far as I understand it, frontiers woman who runs and owns-ish the tavern. I believe technically Warner Enright owns the tavern, if I remember correctly, Chris. Yeah. But he's a very hands-off owner because, I'll be honest, have you met?
He probably doesn't care.
He doesn't. There's a little bit of doesn't care, but also Madame Henriette, you just don't get in her way. Just let her do her things. She'll take care of things.
Robert.
Yeah. Thank you.
Who's like a early 50s, silvery gray haired French woman who works hard to give every pretense and the word I'm looking for here.
We don't either.
I don't know. Very proper acting, seeming, looking.
Very proper lady.
Right.
It's probably the reason Warner Enright likes her. Yes, Madame Henriette is talking with Arcelia and Isabel, her two regular employees, and making mention of, that probably means that we'll have an influx of farmers coming by. But most of the farmers are a little bit more well-behaved because most of those farmers also have wives and a bunch of kids. But there might be a couple who need a talking to. And, Theo probably within ear range. I imagine, I don't imagine any of our town living folks would have missed this message, just because, something is going on, let's poke our head out of the door kind of scenario. I do not know, though, where Ungan Kluk would be in this scenario. Is he usually in town, or...
Well, he and the two sisters are pretty committed to making sure that the shifts are managed well. However, they'd probably want to see what's going on with the bridge. I think they'd be present at this announcement, just because it's important to him and them to get involved with the town more. So although they feel a little isolated, they recognize that long-term success and comfort will be dependent upon them finding some way to interact with everyone well. So the more frequently they're seen, the better from their perspective.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And they kind of travel around as a unit when possible, because he relies on both of them a lot and also wants them to feel like the representation of Les Enfants is their responsibility as much as it is his.
Okay. Yeah. So now a question there, just to clarify, is Cloak and the sisters basically the 3 shift leaders?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
So
right.
do you think they basically are working in kind of like pairs of 2 at all time because somebody's up in the mine?
That's right. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they'll switch off here and there. I think that alternation is probably helpful. And I should also say for everybody out there, the voodoo cult that Ungan Cloak leads has the name Les Enfants de Chaînes Brisées, which means children of broken chains. So it's a cult devoted to empowering the Maroons who've suffered various kinds of oppression and trauma so that they can come to terms with it in a mental and physical way. 1, so that they can overcome those challenges in the past. And 2, so they can become more capable servitors. And by that, I mean devotees and partners with the Loa when they're mounted by the Loa, which is like a version of possession. So the sisters, Messidie and Sanite Coulange, they are the only people in the cult at this point who've passed what is the 2nd initiation, the Rite of Fire, in becoming part of the voodoo priesthood. And so they're right before they would become mambos or female voodoo priests on their own. And so they and Cloak lead it. And of course, Cloak's interest is in lifting people up as much as he can. So that's why he wants
absolutely
them to be involved.
terrifying.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Which actually does bring us to a very important question for you that, hold please, brain just kind of froze on me. What? Talking about the sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever it wasn't important.
Right.
Oh, yes, I remember. So Jean-Paul is never called Jean-Paul. It's always Ungan Cloak?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they call him Ungan Cloak. I imagine that Warner Enright might call him Jean-Paul sometimes. And when appropriate, he would introduce himself by his first name as opposed to using the honorific. But no one in the cult calls him Jean-Paul because they would consider that an act of disrespect.
Right. Yeah. No, that part makes sense. Yeah, I was curious because Warner Enright is...
People trying to call you by your Christian name.
Yeah.
But as Warner is kind of stepping down, the little applause, and again, a lot of this is like everyone's like, we've seen the bridge, like we've seen a couple wagons go over it, but tomorrow is going to be the big celebration, and everyone goes, cool, celebrations are good because that means Warner Enright is putting out money, buying booze. This is probably something that Henriette and the tavern, like, they're like, oh no, we already knew about this. At this point, probably most everybody knew what the announcement was going to be about, but everybody shows up to the announcement. But as Warner steps down off of his soapbox, locks eyes with Jean-Paul, and let's be honest, it's kind of easy to spot Ungan Cloak in a crowd because Ungan Cloak is tall-ish, if I remember correctly.
No, he's not that tall. He's like 5'11".
Okay.
So he's slightly above average in height. But he has a tremendous presence.
Right. I imagine he's got like the Rasputin eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
A little of that. And I mean,
also he's a black dude in Purgatory Bluff. So
yes.
To be fair, you're like a third of the town's population now.
Yes, but a lot of the cult.
A really funny point.
A lot of the cult does stay up in the barracks.
That's fair.
Just because there are still plenty of tensions. They definitely come down in groups, but always in like a group of like 3 or 4, not all of them, or anything like that. But Warner catches eyes with you kind of across, and it's this large wave, and Jean-Paul, and you see his eyes kind of move about, and Mortimer, I need to speak with you, Mortimer, and he's switching back and forth between French and over to English, calling for this guy Mortimer. And no, hi guys, I speak English and an muy poco Spanish.
Not even that much.
We're not playing with languages here, but I will be mentioning what languages people are speaking in, because that does actually matter a little bit. Everybody here has the multilingual merit, which gives them a couple extra languages, but when you have like people from Norway and Germany and like 3 languages doesn't necessarily cut it. Yeah. And so you have a little bit of sometimes you got to play telephone, you got to grab a guy so you can like I need to speak to this. You speak French, I speak English. Okay, let's translate.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not too bad for our characters because I think all of them speak at least some English. But Brito calls over this gentleman Mortimer. And they're kind of, as people are starting to disperse or form up little groups to talk about what they're going to do on a celebration.
Oh, yeah.
Jean-Paul, this is Mortimer Bethune. He's with the Royal Society. And as Warner Enright kind of puffs up a little bit, Mortimer is a little bit older than Warner Enright, though he has all the telltale signs of somebody who stays inside and writes books. He's definitely on the paler side. He does have, longer white hair pulled back into kind of a ponytail, very kind of musketeer-esque, cavalier kind of vibe that he's going for. He's trying to make himself look a little bit younger. And his clothes are definitely new. Compared to most everything that we've seen throughout town, or actually as Gisela probably handles, like a lot of stuff is refurbished frequently, or is patched up. And Mortimer kind of looks Jean-Paul up and down a little bit and extends his hand kind of tentatively and kind of eyeing you up, and then to whichever of the sisters is probably there with you. Hello? And Warner cuts in really quickly because he realizes, right. Mortimer here, on behalf of the Royal Society, has brought something that I think may interest you and your minors.
So Cloak pauses for about 5 seconds before he says anything in response. Or before he does anything in response, he extends his hand, grasps Mortimer's hand, and gives it a firm squeeze. And Mortimer can hear or can feel thick calluses in various places on his palm, as though he's gripping items of multiple different shapes, and they're heavily worn. So he grips it firmly and looks him in the eyes and says, you can call me Jean-Paul. And then before he even addresses what Warner just said about what might be interested, he turns to Messige and Sanite and says, you need to shake their hands too.
Yeah, of course, Mortimer would know French. And so, taken a little bit aback, but also not about to cause a fuss right here, kind of extends hands. And it shifts from, I don't necessarily want to shake your hand to, these are women, so I'm going to be a bit more courtly about it. There's a bit of a flourish to it. Yes, 1846. And so there's a shake of hands. And he's not like wiping his hand off on his hand, his pants or anything like that. But just definitely like taken aback, and Warner kind of clears his throat. He's just kind of watching, realizing that he is probably fucked up and probably could have done this better. But says, yes, the Royal Society has been working on a safety lamp for working in the mines. And like, he's definitely got this. He's a little bit peacocking. He's like, I got this thing for you. Aren't you impressed, buddy?
Jean-Paul pauses and says, we're not afraid of the dark. Safety is good. Tell me more about the lamp.
I actually think Mortimer
such a great campaign.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
The darkness is your ally. I was born in darkness.
Mortimer steps up and you know, this is clearly something that matters to him. And basically, without us delving too heavily into it, basically describes, you know, a lamp that is not susceptible to things like fire damp.
Yeah, I figure it's a Davrich lamp.
You know, basically methane and other gases that get trapped in the earth and cause explosions.
Cool.
And is often a big reason for collapses and stuff like that. Because even a small explosion in a confined space like a mine is bad.
Yeah, it's real bad.
And so,
yeah,
yes.
It sounds like he's describing a Davrich lamp.
Yes, very specifically the Davey Lamp.
Oh, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Davey.
Yep. And you know, basically explains, you know, this is invented some time ago by the Royal Society, and is been very popular in what they say on the continent. I don't think so. You know, back home, and you know, Warner quickly, you know, jumps in here to again peacock a little bit. And yes, the Royal Society heard about my mines out here and thought that it deserved some support. You know, this isn't exactly the Queen's land, but you know, we're doing our best, and they're here to support us. Support me. Peacocking, chest out.
Yeah, I think Warner's probably experienced Jean-Paul not fully acknowledging his behavior, but always treating him with direct, what could be considered respect. It's probably a little abrasive at times because that's Cloak's personality with most people who aren't a Maroon or a part of Les Enfants. However, he isn't offended by Warner. In his mind, Warner's just going to be himself, right? And he is still struggling from some fears and demons that require him to try and impress himself as he interacts with other people. So he's trusting that Warner has some, for the most part, has some good intentions. But he has a, you know, when he's engaging Mortimer, right, he's still suspicious. So when Warner says that the Royal Society wants to support us, Cloak turns back to Mortimer and says, why does the Royal Society want to support blacks in a mine?
Yeah, I think Mortimer puts on a rather predatory grin and says, it's not particularly blacks that we're supporting, just miners. For kind of looks at Warner, the Crown. You know, we're spreading word of the invention, and I mean, we've brought plans for more to be made. This is, you know, a usefulness for all of mankind.
Let me see something real quick.
Mm.
Look at that character sheet.
Oh crap, are we going to actually roll some dice?
I might roll some dice.
While you are looking that up.
No, I'm not going to roll any dice.
Okay. But for anybody else who may be in the area, because again, like I said, people may have, you know, spread out. And of course, some people are watching what Warner Enright is doing. And there is this, you know, guest, Mortimer, who's new to town and definitely stands out. And while Mortimer...
I am going to roll, but please continue.
Okay.
I'll wait.
Mortimer is flanked by two other people. One is middle-aged, 30-ish, a woman, red hair, fairly lighter tan, and very kind of, I almost said business casual, but that's not quite a thing yet. But a little bit more functional clothing, obviously not trousers, but you know, a little bit more, you know, up to handling being out on the frontier kind of dress, jaunty little hat to keep her, you know, her face covered. and then a man who's younger than that, even late 20s, who definitely is watching this exchange between Mortimer and Cloak intently. He's actually got like a rucksack, a bag, which looks like it's got books. You can see like the squared edges and stuff like that, or journal type, smaller books, and definitely have the look of, like assistants to Mortimer, but they've not been introduced. And at this point, nobody in town has like actually met them. Mortimer has, as far as like scuttlebutt rumor, Mortimer has just arrived today, and people are also kind of confused because a ship didn't come in. So they came overland, which is not impossible, not even rare, just rather uncommon. Most everybody just, brings rides in on a ship or one of the like larger wagon trains. These guys must have arrived via like horseback, which, kind of odd for most people.
Especially considering who they are.
Right. Royal Society, which, quick meta thing. In character, everybody might not know who the Royal Society is. But for those of you at home who are unfamiliar, this is the Royal Society of England, and is basically the big think tank brain thing of all England. And basically they're like, are you smart? Are you inventing things? Join the Royal Society and we'll pay you.
Yeah.
So it's the big gig to get as a scientist. Ben Franklin was made an honorary member, to give you an idea.
It's a pretty cool institution.
Yeah, very cool. Sorry, back to Ralph. You decided you are going to roll what?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am going to roll, considering we don't have any praxis or rotes, an improvised spell with mind and the practice of knowing. But, effectively going to be no nature. But I'm going to be here on out describing my spells using that terminology as opposed to referring just to things in the book. So Cloak is going to try and determine what this guy's virtue, vice, aspirations, and obsessions are. His goal in most social interactions is to figure out as much as he can about someone, what their limitations are and what their vulnerabilities are. So in the event that he needs to protect his people, he can exploit it heavily. So his imago, exactly. So the imago is Cloak is trying to tap into his arcane perceptions, and this guy is chained down to different things. There are lots of things that are wrapped around him or that are dragging behind him, and those things alter and affect his behavior. And so as he conceives of the spell, those chains become more evident in his perception, and they become lodged in his own consciousness and then become levers that he can pull or push.
All right. I just realized, Ralph, you've never actually cast a spell with us before.
Nope. I could roll it with default syntax if you want. /R 10D or XD10.
No. There is a
greater than
spell roll macro in Roll20 that you can click on. It should be up in the top right. It may be down as a button on the bottom, and it will walk through and basically ask for like your gnosis, your arcana, penalties for stuff that you might be taking, and just gives us a nice little visual for your reach and die pool.
Sounds good. I see sheet roll, attack roll, and simple roll.
No. That's on the character sheet. This is going to be in the it'll either be at the very bottom of Roll20 below our names, or in the very top right there is a collection button with 3 bullet points.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, for me it's
in the
under that
macros tab. Okay, I need to add that in bar.
Yep.
All right, cool.
How
Gotcha.
do you do that? Oh, neat. It does
Go to macros and tap in bar, and then now it goes below. Fantastic. Show macro quick bar. Excellent.
Spell template.
Great.
Is the correct.
Yeah, so you want me to click on the spell template and on the spell roll, right? So first fill out the spell template and then click on spell roll. Okay, thank you. Great. Spell roll. How much reach do you need? I need 2 reach, which I have because I have mine too. Instant cast, and then to get aspirations and obsessions, I have 2 free reach. My gnosis is 1.
Newbie mages. I
2
love
dots
them.
in Primary Arcanum. Penalties to increase potency. I don't need to do that because there's no withstand with this spell. And I don't need to increase duration or scale. It's needed immediately. So, yantras. That's probably a good thing to briefly touch on on the stream.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't dedicated our tools yet. Do I understand that correctly?
Correct.
Okay.
As everybody has described, most everybody, well, actually, all of our mages are not casting spells often enough that we thought it would be appropriate that they've actually managed to dedicate a tool to the process yet.
Gotcha. Okay. Sounds good. And we don't have orders, so we wouldn't have any orders tools, but we might have path tools.
Correct.
Right? Okay. He carries his, well, no. I was trying to think if he would be carrying the Asan everywhere, because it's a very important symbol of rank.
Mm-hmm.
And he might do that. Yeah. And I figure the Asan in his mind allows him to tap into the astral and perceive people's connections to their limitations. So I think it might be relevant here, where in his mind, the imago is he's shaking it and the sound of the rattle resonates with the frequency of the chains. And so the chains rattle in response and they're able to come into his perception. Does that work? And
notably, in my mind, it is a rod.
Okay, great.
In
Fantastic.
terms of ruling and commanding, or in this case, getting information out of somebody.
Cool. All right. So then that's a 1 bonus there. And then I'm going to spend willpower. So that's 4.
There we go. So quick math there. Yeah, like you said, no penalties. So 4.
So I got
3,
should be 7. Yep. Cool. All right. Whatever's tab.
And then if you do spell roll, because this doesn't have 8 again or 9 again, it'll just ask you.
Something just happened to my view. That's weird. All right, I'll just roll and then I'll see it there. Okay, spell roll. 7 dice.
Cool.
Oh, I know. It went to the top. Cool. All right, 3 successes.
3 successes.
Cool.
Spell cast.
It's too bad I hadn't chosen my praxis because no nature is my praxis.
To the Chronicle.
Oh, I meant to do a timer. Dang it! How fast can we get the spell done? With imago and everything, and a wonderful description. Which, by the way, yes, everybody, please play at the imagos, because that was something we didn't do very well in the last one. And I mean, this is mates. Let's get flashy with this shit.
Hell yeah.
So yes, because you spent reach on instant, and what was the other?
And knowing, aspirations and obsessions.
Okay, cool. Mortimer's virtue is honesty.
Okay, cool.
His vice is ambition.
Ooh, this is going to be useful.
He has. I don't actually have his character sheet made, so I'm going to have to flub a little bit. So in social and mental stats, he has 16 dots.
Okay.
And going back, right, his aspirations and obsessions are he only has aspirations. For those of you who are new, obsessions are a mage thing. So if somebody has obsessions, it's a red flag.
Yep.
So
don't need prime.
And this lets you determine all of the aspirations. Okay. Now these are all obviously in Mortimer's speak, coming from his perspective. So because I don't want to give you all the details right away, right? So notably, the biggest aspiration is complete the experiment, which is definitely a big capital E.
Okay.
The next one is tutor. Whoops, let me pull up the right names here. Tutor Jewels. And then the last is find a good man for Rilla.
How do you spell Rilla?
Rilla.
Okay. I'm assuming Jules is spelled Jules.
Correct.
Cool. Great. All right. Okay, so having gotten his number and having had some interaction, having made his point that in front of Warner, right, that if they are together, you need to treat them all equally, right? Jean-Paul then says, we can talk more about this. I'm assuming there are others you need to talk to.
Oh, yes, I'll be taking Mr. Belfune up to the mines to see our operation and meet the other shift leaders. But since you were here, I thought I would speak with you directly.
Thank you.
Good. And like before there's any possible was like, oh, this is let me take you to meet Anastasio. Quick. And definitely has the look of berating himself of, yes, I could have done that better. In the meantime, what is everybody else doing?
So Theo, just listening to the Enright do his big speech, would just sort of ask the air around here, like, well, he put all that money into that bridge for a reason. I wonder if he's going to be charging a toll. Just let that idea float out through the crowd.
Which actually has come up in the past. And Warner has promised there's no toll for using this bridge. This bridge is to make the town grow. There's no reason to charge a toll. Of course, that's what he said. What he will actually do, and notably the big question is what Ike will push is the big question. Because as you all know, clearly, Ike, his son, he's the asshole. While Warner tries to play himself off as the benevolent British lord over the peasantry, Ike is like, dude, Dad, you could be making a lot more money off of these people.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people like Warner. They put up with Ike. But yeah.
Isabel is leaned up. I'm picturing that the tavern probably faces pretty promptly onto this area. And so she is kind of leaned up against the brick wall corner of the tavern and is playing her flute and going back and forth between singing and playing her flute. And it's just sort of this playful, openly manipulative sort of song that she's singing of the sun beating down upon the crowd and this kind of sing-songy story of y'all want to come get a drink, don't you? Because it's really hot and it's wonderful inside. A little shade, a little beverage.
Absolutely.
And don't forget to tip your waitress.
That's
and
fantastic.
I'm scrolling back real quick here because I know everybody ended up getting stuff to me at one point or another. Oh, here we are. So yes, sorry, Craig, I'll come back to Theo here. But as Isabel is, playing, there's definitely a like odd smell on the wind. Like you catch the scent of, some other in her mind, another big predator prowling around, just kind of passes by and then is gone. Craig, your Discord messages are failing to open for me. So if you could let me know what your... Oh, wait, hang on. There it is. Scroll. Wait, hang on. I know you sent me your peripheral mage site. I should have put all this into Conco already. But yes, your peripheral mage site, which you can tell Wordless Whispers. There it is. Haha. See, I totally had it. Yeah, you definitely like these wordless whispers as you put that that comment out, and other people are talking and whispering and making their own comments, and then there's just these other voices, other sounds that are coming up and definitely are not originating out of the mouths of these people around you. And and Ash, where's our dear friend Gisela?
She's probably been around the ladies who are gossiping about these strange new visitors, weighing in and listening a lot.
Gotcha. And yeah, as you're, talking with them, listening, well, probably listening more than talking, because Gisela is probably one of the youngest adults. And even then,
she's 19.
Right. Yeah. That's true. 19. We're definitely clearly an adult.
That's proper
at that point.
adult. Yeah. She is to the age when mom is trying to marry her off, but she's busy doing other things.
And Anastasio is probably also trying to like hook you up. It's like, listen, I have a nephew. But yes, you're that same, peripheral mage sight, which I believe for you is like the feeling of threads being pulled.
Yeah, like feeling things like a pulling at the edge of your brain.
Mm-hmm. And the same kind of thing as they're talking, all of a sudden you're just like, wait, hang on. What was that? And for all of you, it happens and then
I have
passes.
a merit.
You have a merit. Do tell.
Where is it? Let me find it. Keen periphery. My peripheral mage sight tells me the arcanum under which the effect falls.
So yes, for you, which this is something very odd because obviously you don't have this arcana. Yeah, you don't know the arcana. It is definitely something, and you can see, I imagine, kind of in your head, this weird rune that all of you at this point have started to notice and see sometimes when you really strain and turn on your active mage sight, and some of this, stuff that happens, and you can see this rune that you've started to connect to things that are mental and messing with the mind and are dealing with thought.
Okay.
But that is all you know. But yes, all three of you, not Cloak for some reason, all have this, moment where that peripheral mage sight, that thing that it fairly rarely ever notice. And for some of you, this may actually be the first time you've ever noticed it. Just kind of triggers and you go, what was that?
And it's just a moment and then it's gone?
Mm-hmm. About, say 1 turn.
About 3 seconds.
A very short duration spell.
And we all periscope.
Right, yeah, you all like a bunch of prairie dogs going, what was that? What was that?
Yeah. What the hell was that? What's going on?
But yeah, otherwise, at this point, you guys can kind of take the lead if anybody is going to go meet with people, talk with people, go, elbow your way into a conversation. Otherwise, we can fast forward. But this is your chance.
Yeah.
Just for...
Yeah, I think... Because the direction... do I get a direction sense? No? Just something happened?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I'll just kind of keep that in Isabel's mind. And then as she sort of... finishes one tune and sees that people are, starting to disperse and not enough of them are coming to give her patronage as she deserves. We'll sort of go about like starting to dance and play through the crowd.
Cool.
And that if there is a gathering, it might as well be enjoyable. And so very much actively trying to draw attention to herself.
Sure.
She doesn't try to make everyone be her friend, but she certainly wants them to think that she is. That she is their friend, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's very, very classic bartender.
Right. So I'm happy to sort of roll some dice for some skills and stuff on how well that goes and how much attention I can draw to myself and stuff like that.
I was looking at that exactly. Definitely probably going to be a expression, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And probably presence. Actually, probably more manipulation.
I was thinking manipulation.
Mm-hmm. let's go for that. You're dealing with a large crowd. I know you're happy to get individuals, but to try and get that momentum of people to draw people away. So I think you're probably rolling this at a -2.
Okay. And it's like little bits of song and storytelling and
I feel like a lot of this is she's improvising it, right? And just
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Going to tap on my storytelling expression.
Specialization.
Specialization.
Mm-hmm.
You said a -2.
Correct. 0 successes. So, because I know I'm going to ask this question hopefully quite often, do you want to turn that into a dramatic failure?
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
So yes, go ahead.
Give me that beat.
Take your beat. Which after stream we'll have to talk about beats
afterwards.
We'll talk about beats. Yeah,
I'll mark it for now.
Yep. Sorry, excuse me. Where's my water? Switch my drinks around here. As you were, dancing. Well, not really dancing, but that the lively step of
there's a bit of a twirl,
right? Mm-hmm. And playing on your pipe. I think you straight up just kind of lose track of where everybody is, and it's not a light bump. You tumble into you don't know him yet, but Jules, the gentleman that's following along behind Mortimer, and it is a good stumble fall, and there is a tangle of limbs, to use the term, especially big old dress and stuff like that, and there is the immediate kerfluffle of sound of you hitting him hitting the ground, and then Mortimer and Enright both turning and going, what is this? What is going on? And a little bit of, sharp-tongued reprimand. And we'll just take the condition embarrassed.
Yeah.
And just you definitely kind of, stumbled, literally. And actually,
how do I resolve?
I am looking real quick. I could have sworn that it exists as a condition. Yeah. Oh, that's embarrassing secret. That's not quite it. But we'll just kind of leave this as a if you while you're under this effect, if you roll a -2, roll at a -2 for an appropriate social skill, just because you're still kind of embarrassed, that'll resolve the condition. You don't necessarily have to fail. You take that penalty as the remembrance. That classic lying awake in the middle of the night. Remember that dumb thing you did in 4th grade? Fuck!
Dumb thing that yesterday. Come on now.
Yeah.
Can I interpose a little bit of directorial? I fall atop him in a very sort of
the term might be
embarrassing. Yeah. And then scrambling back up to my feet and blushing, looking at the ground, and trying to find my flute.
Right. Which I think, there's the moment of hands on thighs. Oh my God, hands should not be on thighs. Draw back, scramble. He grabs, because how old is Isabel?
She is mid to late 20s.
Yeah, so you guys are right about the same age and all, and there's the embarrassment, the look. Warner and Mortimer both doing the very upset chaperone kind of thing, and Jules takes the flute and kind of lifts it up and isn't looking at you, and you're not looking at him kind of moment. Miss, I believe you dropped this.
I'm deeply sorry. And her English is not the best.
Oh, that's
to try and get that across. And then kind of in a single sentence goes between Spanish, French, and English, trying to apologize in as many ways as possible.
And I think Rilla probably steps to your defense and just kind of places a hand on your shoulder and says, "It's okay." It just kind of pushes, and she's like, "Okay, we're just going to quickly disarm this," and kind of stepping between you and Jules. And as Jules is starting to pick himself up, Warner and Mortimer are turned back to Anastasio, who kind of remotely. Basically managed to make a fool of yourself. A small fool, but in front of basically all the important people in town. Right. And Rilla kind of just gives you an out, just go, before anybody starts to have a conversation about this. But you do actually catch sight of, as you're making your way, Jules is watching you leave. Because after an encounter like that, even if it's embarrassing, it's well, hang on, who was that?
And as I'm halfway scurrying away, I still had the whole goal of getting people to come to the bar. Mm-hmm. Right. And so there's this I'm going to lay into the embarrassed on this as well, but I can see that I have at least a little bit of his attention, more than I'd like at this moment, but a little bit. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to, sort of a persuasion roll as I'm running away is first round's on the house and just running away.
All right.
That's great.
You're trying to get just Jules at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So same roll. You don't need to take a -2 unless you want to go ahead and burn your condition.
I do.
Okay. Get the beat now. Why save it?
5d10.
Exactly.
You should.
This I think is more presence.
That's fair.
And probably socialize.
I think this is going to be presence and persuasion. The Songbird classic.
Okay. Absolutely not on this character. It's not. We're missing a few dots. And a -2 from that, and I will absolutely spend a willpower to try and dig myself out of this hole.
Sure.
So 5 dice, and let's not fuck it up this time.
Hey, there you go. And so there's no verbal response, but definitely the look after, and then there's a nod and a the half smile. Kind of thing before, Mortimer and Warner just, hey, attention over here kind of thing. Meanwhile, and everybody saw this.
Sure.
So Theo...
Cut to the gossipy bitches.
Right, yeah. We have the gossipy bitches, we have Theo the coworker, and we have Ungun Cloak, who probably... I, just before we get to the other two... What does Ungun Cloak think of the tavern and all that stuff? Because it feels kind of counter to the whole self-control thing of the.
Yeah, he wants to destroy the tavern. He has seen alcoholism wreck Haiti.
Right.
So he hates commercialized indulgence in vice.
Y'all are going to be great friends.
Oh, yeah.
Going to get along very well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If it becomes a problem and some of the miners get drunk, he's going to go in and say, shut this place down or I will.
Sure.
And then we'll have to resolve that, of course.
Oh, yeah. Aspirations.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, he wants, as a brief aside, right? I want you to go to the other people. But just in case it wasn't clear to everybody by the implication I was trying to make, in Cloak's mind, his presence is, the reason why he's here is to help everyone in the town get past their vices.
And a fucking challenges. Sam the Eagle this town.
and notably, it definitely has the Cloak wants to help everybody, but they may not particularly want his help or appreciate the method of his help.
That's right.
Yeah. Nope, it's cool.
Droid from don't like nightmares.
Droid from the Rogue One. No, you're being rescued. Do not resist.
Yes.
That's right.
So yes, either the gossipy bitches with Gisela, oh boy, I'm still trying not to say character names, or over to Theo, who, I don't know what job she's doing. Yeah, go ahead.
No, Theo notes the little altercation and just kind of mentally like if she had done that, the women would have dragged her outside and stoned her. But just the double standard thing is kind of apparent here. And just kind of laughs that off. Did that comment seed anything in the crowd?
Which comment?
About that he's probably going to start charging a toll, or somebody will?
I mean, at this point, like it's like I said, it's a general conversation note that has been going around. But if you want to like prompt and like seed this rumor a little bit more, we can definitely roll for that.
Yeah, I think I want to do that.
Okay, I should have kept that notes. Where's that at? Rolling dice.
I forgot to set an aspiration, so I'm doing that now.
Yeah, I did think about that. I was like, I didn't actually check your guys' aspirations.
You can
done
check
those
them
in so
a little
long.
bit.
I think we'll kind of match. Actually, we'll match this up with. It's not quite fast talk, but it's kind of there. So let's do manipulation plus subterfuge.
Oh, okay.
Because this is not. You're not planting. This is pure falsehood. Well, not necessarily falsehood, but
well, I'm just planting the seeds of doubt. Yeah.
And again, it's a crowd that you're trying to work with. So I should have given you some negatives, but I think we'll be okay. It'll be all right. You only just miss on a chance for beats for dramatic failure and stuff like that. So yeah. I mean, you definitely kind of make that comment, and it's a little under the breath, and probably mention it a couple times to a couple different folks, just kind of in passing. And you definitely get people are at least conversing about it again, especially now. Hey, he said that he wasn't going to, but now that the bridge is actually built, now we're going to really see, is his real colors going to come out, or more specifically, is
how his son is
exactly right.
Yeah,
Like, is Ike going to actually get his ear? Because Ike has done it before. Ike is like, for instance, there's a couple. Like, everybody who buys who wants to build a house now buys land from Warner, but when the town was first opened and was building up, no, people just started building and nobody cared. But now, all of a sudden, you have to pay Warner.
And just for background, how did we cross the river before? Because people must have crossed the river.
It would have been
a ferry or a ford or something?
You'd ford the wagon,
Okay.
it'd be like, and the only time people were really coming back and forth was like with a fully loaded wagon, caulked up, and we're going to get it across. There was a like rope bridge, but it was like, a very flimsy thing. You did not carry goods across. You could walk individuals across, because it's not this wide, huge canyon.
Do they have boats?
I mean, yeah, people would do, small boats and stuff like that.
They're probably
too.
like a ferry to move people around.
The distance is short enough that like you didn't need a big ferry, but the big thing is all of those were far more time consuming than we have a bridge that will cross over. But yeah, there were definitely other methods, but all of them were time consuming, or you had to pay somebody else to do it, or or the big thing being you had to make multiple trips often.
And the danger, and if it's been raining, then that's not going to happen.
Yep.
Spring is, Right. That's all I want to do is sow a little discontent with them. All right.
It's Twitch chat. I meant to mention it. Twitch chat, we're really not paying attention to you during this. Well, I'm not. They are. But you are welcome to come by Discord. We have a channel. Actually, we don't have it yet. We will have a channel. We will have a channel for Into the West discussion.
Spoilers channel.
We do have the Twitch spoilers channel. So yeah, you are welcome after the stream to come by there, and we will happily engage in conversation. Yes,
it's gonna be some good stuff.
What I was doing, I was going to try to go and like try to find an opportunity to greet our new guests. Basically, I'm trying to network. I want them to come to our shop. You said that they were there with like Anastasia, so I figured that would have been a good time to
absolutely, yeah,
to walk up as Isabel was busting her ass.
Right, I was going to say that. I think the timing is perfect. There's all this stuff. Anastasia
wasn't my ass I busted.
Yeah, that's true.
Anastasia was like getting through the introductions, and you were floating in the background there a little bit, and then all of a sudden the fall happens, and oh yeah, here, just kind of touch Anastasio on the arm. Hey, I'm here too. And and so as Mortimer and Warner are kind of turning back around, Anastasio says, oh yes, this is this is Gisela Bauer, and again a very strong in this case, just to clarify, Anastasio is Mexican as opposed to Spanish. They speak the same language, but there is a definite ethnicity difference here, folks. But he's, Anastasio is 45, so he's a little bit younger than Warner, but they're kind of in the same age group. He's got black hair, but he is tall. He's 6'2". He's definitely on the skinny side. His brother, I got to remember which one, is, I think it's...
Yeah. Anastasio is the shop owner, yes?
Correct.
Okay, yeah. Making sure I'm with the right one.
Yeah. So Anastasio is the tallest, but both brothers, all three brothers are 6 foot or taller, and they're all kind of, two of them are lean. Juan Carlos, who's the farmer, is just like a barrel of a man who steer to plow my fields? Nah, I just do it by hand. He's just a big guy, big voice, big family. But yes, Anastasio kind of, motions, and, this is, Gisela, and he heaps praise on, oh yeah, she runs the general store, not the tavern. She runs the store while I'm not there, which is these days, well, it's probably just about every day. I don't have to worry about it, and just heaping on the praise, thinks you're the best thing in the world. And definitely not necessarily, a little bit of a paternal aspect to it. But just kind of like, oh yeah, no, she's the best. Because, he's not lying. Basically, you're the only one there most days. Very hard worker. Mm-hmm. So Mortimer does the same kind of thing that he did when greeting the sisters with Ungun Cloak. It's very more courtly, bow, and he actually introduces, now that it's just that, oh yes, and kind of recognizing the similarities of Anastasio to you, and goes, yes, this is Jules Lamb, an apprentice of the society. Well, technically my apprentice and an aspirant to be in the society, and then this is make sure I get Rilla's last name correctly. Rilla Remington, double M, anybody who's taking notes, which, by the way, you don't really have to take notes because we have Gonka.
I guess that's a good point. I'll stop doing that. But some things I'm going to add to it soon.
Yep. Yeah. Rilla is, our secretary, and, does quite a lot of our record keeping, and is a brilliant mind of her own. And there's definitely, if anybody who has seen the movie, it's definitely the Thor and Iron Man conversation of, oh yes, well, my girlfriend is studying black holes. Oh, well, my girlfriend is, a CEO of a company. And there's this moment of like, my girl is better than your girl kind of moment. But it lasts for literally just that second. And before Warner continues that, oh yes, Mortimer is bringing some new inventions and discoveries from London into the frontier here. He has some lamp invention that I don't quite understand, a safe lamp for the mines, and there's some telescopic work that they'll be doing as well up on one of our hills, and Mortimer just like points to a very specific hill up on basically the large ridge where all the mine work has been done.
I'm going to note. Just like, I'm going to remember that.
Yes. I think especially within a mage game, we have the little pop-up. Everybody will remember that.
You're doing specific work on that hill, you say? Weird new strangers.
Yep. As well as... and then we'll be continuing further west into, what do you say, the undiscovered countries? Into the wilderness.
Yeah, it was settled. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or well, we've been out there. Mm-hmm. There were towns.
Yep. But yeah, Jules, of course, steps forward, shakes your hand, again, very courtly, both Jules and Mortimer definitely have the they're probably not actually royalty, but they definitely have kind of that upper crust, educated, kind of vibe. Rilla looks to be like she's probably more of, working class, but she got that good gig as a secretary because she's got good penmanship and a good ear for dictation. No jokes. I swear to God, I will come for you. For the most part, they're, pleased to, hello, hi, nice to meet you. And you definitely get the vibe immediately that Mortimer doesn't care about Anastasio and doesn't care about you. You guys are workers, and Anastasio at least owns land and owns his store, but is far more interested in his scientific discoveries, and especially Gisela being fairly well read, even if a lot of it is probably fiction, but he gives off that vibe of the scientist and stuff like that.
Trying to get feels to which one I should, I guess, target if I'm trying to get them to be like, oh, well, if you need help with supply lines or distribution, it's just like, here's how we can help you.
Sure, I gotcha. And like, hey, if you need anything while you're here, come to the... Yeah, okay. It's probably Mortimer. He did, like, watching them, he's definitely got the reins in all ways, and they're deferring to him.
Mm-hmm. Should I roll for that?
Yes.
I'm real bad at social stats.
It doesn't matter. You can try. But yes, this is definitely
beats.
Yeah.
Take a dramatic failure.
Yeah.
Come on now.
This is probably going to be closer to, and this actually kind of surprises me, but I actually really like it. You're prompting a rational argument, hey, this is a thing you should do. This is actually with the book, and feel free to throw something else at me. As Craig said a lot in Star Trek Adventures, you feel free to pitch something else, is intelligence plus expression minus their resolve. You have an intelligent argument, and this is how you put it forward.
Okay, well, I'm rolling one die. Because I don't have any points in expression.
Oh, okay. Right, and so you're taking...
I have 2 points in persuasion and 1 in subterfuge.
If you want to pitch persuasion, I think can work.
Yeah.
Drew, can I chime in briefly?
Sure, please do.
My understanding is the subtraction of resolve is when it's a resisted roll.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
Cool.
We'll get to the fact that there was going to be no negative. Just reading it off the book.
Gotcha. Cool.
But yes, feel free to do intelligence plus persuasion.
Yeah. Okay.
You have a absolutely good
sheet roll. I'll use willpower because I have a few. I have a lot.
Yes, you built your character to have a lot, if I remember correctly.
All right, 1 success.
1 success. And so, yes, also, if anybody is looking over and sees Gisela Bauer / Cassandra, you see nothing.
Should I delete that part?
It doesn't matter. If anybody is familiar with mage, it's a shadow name, but these are newbie mages who don't even understand the concept of a shadow name. But yes, with 1 success, Anastasio kind of nods and kind of takes that prompting and kind of rolls with it. As you mentioned it to Mortimer, just being the helpful, general store owner, and Anastasio, chimes in with you and goes, "Oh yeah, even if we don't have anything in stock, I don't know how long you'll be here, but we can arrange for things to be here within, a week or two, because." There is no Amazon here. Things got to travel, yo.
We're gonna go further south to get to Amazon.
Yep, way south.
Or really far east.
Oh, other Amazonians. Okay, I'm with you now.
Okay.
I was
that's a good point.
No, that's not how a globe works. But now I get you. So yes, Mortimer kind of looks and goes, yes, well, that may be useful. Yes, thank you. And you can see the idea of actually bothering to get supplies here didn't seem to cross his mind, though to you, that should be an immediate, like,
Yeah.
where else were you going to get your supplies?
I think that's odd.
Yep.
This man is strange.
Yes. If there's nothing all of you get from all your various interactions with Mortimer, it should be that these three are odd. Even like Warner, who has a British accent, it's kind of worn down over hearing the melange of other people who are speaking English. Even his French accent is changed after, a couple months of speaking with Marina or Cloak. So yeah, these guys have a thick British accent.
Look, I don't know any fate spells. So I'm going to see if I can. I know in my head what I want to do, trying to find out what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Good old fate. Yeah.
Yes, 1812 is when we burned. When Washington got burned. That was for chat. Sorry, not paying attention to him again.
Don't know.
Sorry.
Don't worry.
Reading.
Oh, it's fine. What is your goal, Ash?
I want to look at him, basically. Like, I want to be able to look at him and see fates.
Oh,
where is he going? What are his
future
where are the
stuff?
paths? Yeah.
Future stuff is usually time, possibilities.
All right. Well, what I was looking at, I think interconnections tells me what I want. The marks of fate on people, places, and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that will be,
No, it's telling me like if they're possessed.
It will tell you with the reach. It'll tell you if they're possessed, but it also you basically it's almost a space spell in the fact that you spot the connections between
two things. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So you have to spend some time to observe each of them, one subject per turn. So you would look at Mortimer, for instance, and then look at Jules and be able to figure out, okay, how are these guys connected? So that is a spell. It works very well. It is withstand by composure though, and you do basically need a little bit of duration to manage to kind of really suss out what they're doing or how they're connected.
What is read the Outmost Eddies? I think it's a blessing. That's neat. No, yeah, I'm gonna do that. I want to. Basically, I feel like she's been doing this in town at people for a bit now. Once she sort of realized she could. So now she is within, I guess, range, close enough to see these new weird strangers and.
Yeah, because doing it at a distance is considerably harder. You have to spend that extra reach, which Cloak was very smart and did while shaking hands.
Yeah, fate and gnosis. One reach for instant, one for duration. I'll need to overreach to do it at range. I don't remember what overreaching does when you don't have things.
It's one die of paradox.
One paradox.
Oh no!
Die. Yeah.
Let's go for it though.
Absolutely. I mean, compared to how you guys played in the first campaign, let's get a little more loosey goosey. Let's get make some dumb mistakes. Let's get some
we have to spend our mana all the time. Constantly be out of mana, right, Craig?
To be fair,
was it Guardian?
And sympathetic casting really takes it out of you.
Oh yeah, it's space. That's a real challenge.
And for Yantras,
that's why familiars.
I'm going to do this as I've stepped back slightly after we've done our introductions because I don't want to I don't want them to notice that I'm looking at them.
Sure.
And I've got my stone on my neck, which is a seeing stone.
Yeah, the hag stone.
Yeah. So that's just one. And I will give it a willpower.
All right. Yeah. So overreaching one. So I'll roll some paradox. unless you are going to spend a mana.
Sure, I have mana.
Yep.
That's rolling 7. 3 successes.
Okay. Well, I actually just remembered. We still technically roll a chance die on the paradox.
Ah, yes.
Okay, nothing.
1 success. Or what? Okay.
Because remember,
it's
it's a 10. Right. Yep. Cool. So 3 successes. Yes, as chat can see. Got it, Craig. Where is too many screens? Okay, so yes. The issue here is this is going to be withstood by potency. By composure for each thing that you are studying.
Okay. Then I probably don't have the potency to actually get anything from this.
Because you are sitting at 2 potency. So yes, but notably because she's a newbie mage, right? So this is very good, kind of vibe. So you kind of turn on this, viewing of people and start to like squint at them through your hagstone, and very quickly you probably I'm going to grab the wheel here a little bit. You kind of look at Mortimer, kind of look at Rilla, and you kind of look at Jules, even look at Anastasia real quick, and just like, it should be working. Like you can do this, but for whatever reason, you really feel like you haven't put enough oomph into this, and there's probably a mental, I need to figure out how to do this better in the future. How
to be better, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have
it's worked on some people, especially those folks who have just the one wimpy little composure.
Yeah, my long-term aspiration is like gain more control of magic, basically get better. Because she's
so yes, as Craig has messaged me, thank you. You, especially if you're still out there in the green, just kind of meandering around and spreading your vile rumors. You again feel and hear those like, wordless whispers, which at this point now, like as people have started to like separate out a little bit more, it's like, okay, I am definitely, hearing something that's not actually here. So you activate your mage sight, which, because you only have 2 mage sights to choose from, and both of them are your ruling, which you can turn on for free. I'm not even going to ask. Or are you actually limiting yourself to just one of them?
No.
Okay, cool. So you turn on your death and matter sight and view the world as a Moros, and peer into, I almost said pandemonium. My mastigos are showing.
We can all go there if you want.
Stygia.
Thank you. I was like, Styx.
I saw the exact sort of click of the gears.
And watch as, basically the whole world around you shifts into this amorphous, like growing, dying cycle. Not even growing and dying, just decaying and rebuilding itself
and
back
transitions
up.
And
solid matter suddenly kind of getting wibbly wobbly, liquid and such like that. And just the whole world shifts, and occasionally here and there you see these, cloaked figures of, you don't know what, but they are all intimidating, and occasionally have seen ghosts with this, particular trick. And, where are you looking specifically? Just kind of doing the 180
I'm like,
to 360?
like scanning the crowd. Because something weird's going on and she wants to understand what it is.
Ding the bell. No. No, a quick look through. You don't see anything like particular.
So no transitions or anything happening that you can pick up on?
Right. Yeah. Death and matter specifically, spot you some ghosts, which there are none here. None here. Go up to the graveyard, different story. And then matter, would show you things, and you have a sudden very good understanding of how tattered, everybody's clothes are and how close to being worn out shoes are. But nothing immediately stands out supernally from anything else.
Everybody has a soul.
Yes. Yeah, that quick check of everything. Now, I think actually probably for Theo, that's the normal state of things, and it'll be interesting when Theo meets something that doesn't have a soul. Well, I guess animals, you probably note are different. But yeah, when you note that first human that doesn't have a soul, that red flag's gonna go up. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So, but you definitely had that bit of investigation of, okay, hang on, is there something I'm not seeing? Let me try and squint real hard and spend a couple of minutes looking around the immediate area, and you don't see anything.
Okay.
And with that, unless anybody else has anything to chat with right here on the green, Chris is signaling. You are muted.
You're mute.
Still muted.
You're still mute.
How much reach did Ash have on her spell?
2, right? It's your
three total reach.
3 total, 2
Oh.
free.
Okay.
Then I wasn't
So
overreaching.
her Nimbus is there for 3 turns.
Ah, that's very true.
Oh, and if she's casting a spell, right?
And it's around her.
Right. In this particular case, had been around. So yes, that's very true. Thank you. Yes, Nimbus. You guys remember that? Because we didn't do it in the first chronicle.
Mm-hmm.
So Ash, if you would be so kind as to describe your signature Nimbus.
Immediate Nimbus.
No, immediate Nimbus is when it flares off of her. Oh,
Well,
yes.
she cast a
She's
spell.
maintaining a spell, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's just a heavy sense of fatalism. Like you suddenly feel like you can feel your life stretching out ahead of you, and you see where it's going. Like the path has been laid.
with no chance to divert.
Mm-hmm. This
Is
is
that
your
the-
fate.
Which, as
Ooh,
the
that's
Moros looks
interesting.
on, like, yeah, sure.
All right. And
And besides the sense of it, is there any visual that goes with it?
Not right now. Not as this baby.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's just a strong feeling. Just like
but
oppressively, you feel this.
Right, and
but
notably,
can I tell where it's coming from? And
Right.
What's the penalty?
no, there's no
or
penalty
bonus?
because this is because you are turning on your active mage sight after she has cast, so you're
Okay.
not getting hit with a Nimbus tilt. That happens at the cast. If you had the active mage sight on when she casts, you would potentially be
Okay.
hit by that. In this case, you are seeing the lingering effects around her and the signature Nimbus, which would be very short term, but that would be on the targets as well. We'll have to actually, Chris, do you have the Nimbus stuff up there?
I think immediate Nimbus is the number, the length of the tilt is equal to the number of reach you have,
Mm-hmm.
and the potency, or like what you have to compare your resolve against, is the potency of the spell.
Right. What I'm trying to see is the signature Nimbus that is left on people.
Oh, you mean left on where she cast?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Can
I think that's based on Gnosis.
by default, this lasts for a week. So,
yeah.
So I take that back. Craig, you note that immediate Nimbus that is at this point surrounding Gisela. You see the signature Nimbus, which we'll get to here momentarily, that is also on her as she basically opens her eyes to these interconnections. And you also see the signature Nimbus of, oh my gosh, Cloak, I'm getting these names, on Mortimer. So if you guys would be so kind as to describe your signature Nimbus that you leave on the effects of your spells.
Did I message that at you? I don't remember.
You did.
Yeah.
I'll pull it up.
Oh no, I just had the feeling part.
They're usually, but not always, related.
Mhm.
Like the
Yeah.
book gives an example of if you have a fiery immediate Nimbus, there's some charring on the targets of your magic and stuff like that.
So when I look at Gisela, I can see my fate lying out in front of me as a long, lonely road kind of thing. I can tell it's her for sure.
A lot of stuff pointing at, there's, and you, especially this is probably the first time you've ever seen a nimbus other than your own left on something.
Sure.
Yeah, the left part is probably a sort of I don't know if despair is the right word, just like despondency. You feel
like
helpless.
your life is now in a canyon that never.
Yeah.
There's no deviating from it. Okay, cool. Yeah, that would be pretty despondent.
And what about the signature nimbus left by Cloak?
Yeah, that's great. I wish I could have described my immediate nimbus considering what Ash just said. However, the signature might hint at it. So if you are to evaluate Mortimer and notice the signature nimbus that Cloak left, it feels like an intense, overwhelming feeling, or the intense, overwhelming feeling you have of adrenal fatigue after you have surmounted an incredible challenge. So the sensation that imagine the sensation you would experience if you had been fighting the whole world and you had overcome it. Not the triumph, but just the exhaustion.
The fatigue. Yeah.
Yes, the overwhelming fatigue.
So
sort of the look on their
probably
face
not
of every
feeling
marathon
great right
runner
now.
when they're done.
We got some good nimbi here. I'm excited.
Theo's probably not feeling great.
and notably because remember this is
There's
a
no
feeling
tilt supplied currently.
right,
That's
and
true, yeah.
it's also the effect that you're getting when looking at these things. As soon as Theo looks away, it's gone.
It goes away. Yeah.
But that it's that whole like looking into a spooky cavern and going, no, thank you. But if you look away, the cavern is no longer bothering you. Yeah, but yeah, so. Yeah, you definitely get that, Theo, and it looks like you have decided to throw your own spell at this, and after that, we probably need to take a break, otherwise we're just going to keep yammering.
Sure. So I'm doing soul marks.
Soul marks. Oh, here we go.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
On me?
Mm-hmm.
You're the one all marked up. Yeah.
So I make that as 7 dice. One's for instant, one's for range.
Mm-hmm. Right. Gnosis, Arcana, penalties for that big oomph. All right.
Soul Marks has a resolve withstand.
It does. So what is your resolve, Gisela?
3.
7 dice.
3. Which got 4 potency, I think, right? Yes.
Yep.
As 2 built in, bought 2 more, so 4 more. And sorry,
How'd you roll 7 with the penalties for potency? I was just curious if you
rolled too many dice.
Yeah.
Did I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Minus 4 is 7.
How are you getting 11? Oh, you're counting the
You're
reach.
adding the reach.
Oh, sorry. A little out of practice. Let's try that
7
again.
minus 4 is 3.
Yep.
3.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Out of practice.
Quite all right.
I was just going to be impressed.
Yeah.
Oh,
There we
still
go.
take my 2 successes.
Still
Same
got the
result.
2 successes.
Fantastic.
Hit that motherfucking bell.
So, so with that, now you didn't spend the reach on,
Well, I
looking
don't
at
need
legacy.
unattached.
Right, yeah, you don't need that.
Yeah, I don't need unattached souls.
So now here's the trick. You can see 1 soul mark. Please tell me what soul mark you would like to know about.
I want to know if she's awakened.
Right.
It's a confirmation.
And I think specifically because this is your first other potential mage, and I think probably for
Are they
Theo,
like me?
Are they like me?
Yes.
And so you have this moment looking at Gisela, who's marked and with all these emotions, and just go, oh, you're like me, and we have a moment of Spider-Man pointing at Spider-Man. So yes.
Oh, Craig is above me.
Yeah, Theo and Gisela. Man, these names are going to get them eventually.
It's okay.
I feel like they're actually because on Gisela's end you have that plucking again. You've stepped away. You were looking at some, at Mortimer and the gang, and then all of a sudden you have that plucking sensation again. And yeah, that's where we pick up with and Theo looking probably a little wide-eyed.
Yes. It is a death plucking that I have felt.
Oh, that's true, because you have, mm-hmm.
Which is...
That's a new one.
Yeah. I'm going to put on actual mage sight.
Here we go.
Put on my wizard eyes. My initial suspicion is the ones I was looking at.
Right, absolutely. Looking at, Mortimer, who you can probably actually see well, actually, no, because there's, you actually see that same, or feel that same adrenal end after Cloak's spell had been laid on him. But, looking around with fate and time, you don't see anything pushing and prodding on their destiny. Nobody is moving faster or slower out of, the normal time stream, and probably kind of do that little look around and then look down at yourself.
If I can interject a little bit.
Absolutely.
One thing you would notice that you don't normally see is that there's like faint ghostly forms on the edges of your vision. So you'll see movement and it's like sort of incorporeal, but when you turn, there's nothing there.
Oh, that's fun, because that is...
You have triggered her.
Yes.
Full on paranoia.
Actually, do me a favor. Take the spooked condition. Considering, like, normally this, just seeing a signature image wouldn't do anything, but considering Gisela's background, yes.
Spooked. I'm going to, not to politely excuse myself, I am barely not bolting.
Turning and quick walk.
Yeah, out. Gone.
Heading to the tavern, not tavern, the general store or home?
Probably home. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, because, the weird things at the edge of your vision, Dad has talked about that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so quick walk heading that way. And Theo, you watch, probably see Gisela's eyes go wide and look and just beeline down the lane, Main Street, that, basically everything is built on. And them being a newer arrived family, I'm sure that the home that they've gotten built and perhaps built themselves, do you think they're probably not in a Saudi? Between the fact that your dad, your mom, and you all
they've been here
work.
a while. They've been here a couple of years.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, probably, 2-story brick, a decent house. And booking it that way. The kiddos are outside, and I say kiddos because I don't have everybody's family memorized, but fortunately, the Bauer family is very easy
I didn't
to find.
put Lucia's age in yet. She is 6.
Okay. You've got Lucia hanging around, and Dietrich, who's, how old is Dietrich again?
He's
9. Yeah.
8, 9. Yeah. He was born after they landed.
Right. A proper American boy. The two of them, probably playing outside under mom's watchful eye. She's probably at a tub after having left the, announcement. Is like, oh, okay, it's about the bridge. Yeah, I have clothes to wash. Bye. I have kids to watch. Headed that way. And mom probably looks up. Let's use her actual name. And Antonia kind of looks up and, in German, right? What language? Yeah. Okay.
Bavarian.
I don't know. Is Bavarian a separate language?
It's a German dialect.
Right. So for our intents and purposes, not intensive purposes.
I mean, there's not Germany at this time, right?
Well, is Riafio on the stream right now?
I mean, no, there isn't a Germany, but there are a bunch of different German areas.
Okay.
They speak German.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's fine. And just for our purposes,
Prussia, Saxony.
Yeah. For our purposes, it's German. Kind of looks up and, is everything all right? You look like you've seen a ghost.
Gonna go lie down.
Didn't quite answer my question, but okay. lets you head in. At this point, you're 19, you're your own woman. You have a job. Honestly, provide a good, support of the family.
Mhm.
And
because Dad has bad days.
Yep. Make your way upstairs and go.
Yeah, and the thing is, Gisela has had bad days. That's what her awakening was. It was to everyone else around her. That's what they assumed was happening.
Right, because she had the full mystery play awakening, and so she was seeing Arcadia, not the changeling Arcadia. We're not getting into that conversation now. But yeah, just all sorts of trickster entities. No, it is not the changeling Arcadia.
Porque no los dos.
So many things break when you do that. But yes.
It's just very much the madness has hit so young. And then she got better.
And hasn't had a problem until
now.
Yep. So Theo, are you laying chase or?
I was gonna just seeing the reaction. I thought I'd give 15 minutes and then go and knock on her door.
Okay, so there's no knocking on the door so much as because the Bauer family is they're out front.
Sure. So
I know what you mean. But and Antonia looks up at you, and Antonia doesn't like you. Most of the married women don't like you. Yeah. But Antonia and Ash, feel free, so I'm not putting words into your characters. Is not a mean woman. So she looks up at you and Theodosia.
Madam, give her a bit of a curtsy. Is Gisela around?
No.
Oh, can you tell her I was looking for?
I'll let her know. Have you checked the general store?
Yeah, I saw that she was in town and she just left in a hurry. I just wanted to make sure she was okay. She looked a little out of sorts when she left.
Did you see something happen to her?
No.
I'll let her know that you were looking for her.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
By Theodosia.
Knock, knock, knock. Sorry I scared you with my wizard powers.
And watches you leave, kind of finishes whatever particular garment she's working on, and then just the motherly snap that gets children attention, and both of them, Dietrich and Lucia. Yeah. Both kind of look up, and she just kind of makes the silent motion into the house as she picks up, the wash and carries it inside and shuts the door and goes up to find you. And yeah, there's no privacy. There, mom barging in, and in the doorway kind of leans and, is everything okay?
No. I'm worried that I'm seeing things.
And the panic moment, because she married into the family, has heard about this stuff, has obviously seen what's happened to your dad, and probably saw what happened to his dad. If I remember correctly, that's the particular line. Yep. And so okay, and steps in, shuts the door, sits on the bedside. And, kind of looks and, what did you see?
Nothing directly, but shapes in the edges of my eyes.
No.
I couldn't look at them.
And utter empathy, can't believe, no, we thought we were past this. We thought, it wouldn't happen, for years. Just all that just kind of hits her, and she pats her leg and kind of, well, maybe it'll pass again.
I hope so. I am going to attempt to take a nap.
Okay. Well, Lucy and Dietrich will, stay out of the room, because I imagine the three of you share a bed where, mom and dad share a bed. And okay, well, I'll tell them to leave you be, and I'm almost done with my wash, and then I'll see about putting dinner on. You just sleep until then, and then like starts pulling your boots off, or whatever shoes you've got on. It's like no, get comfortable, lay down, and makes her way out, and there's some gentle yelling in German of leave your sister alone. She's taking a nap. She's worked hard, unlike useless rapscallions. Very motherly, but trying to direct attention away from you because hey, you just got back. You're the new thing. Cool. Are you doing anything while trying to take that nap, or are you just literally, I'm going to lay here, I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm just trying to make it go away?
I'm probably going to fail at that.
Mm-hmm.
And once I do start rifling through books, what I have gathered, they're fairy tales.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that talks about a curse, I've got it.
Right.
That I could have found. And I'm studying, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really studying. They're fairy tales, but...
Mm-hmm. A quick note, because I'm realizing, because you're continuing to see these things at the side of your vision until you turn off your mage sight.
I would have turned it off. Yeah.
So they would have gone almost immediately. So you're no longer seeing them. But okay. Just making sure.
I saw them, drop the mage sight, leave.
Right. Okay. Cool.
For my sort of understanding of your character, how does Gisela understand / feel about her wizard eyes, as it were?
Mm-hmm.
What is that to her? That this intrusion of something new.
Well, this is one thing I'll step in real quick, because there is because I know where you're coming at it from, Chris, but a quick reminder, because you guys have Gnosis 1, while you don't know everything, there are definitely some supernal truths that you have learned.
Yeah, like you went and signed your name in the book, and you know that you have magic.
Right. Yeah,
that's like she doesn't turn on mage sight and thinks that she's seeing curses, but she did just see the curses when she turned on her mage sight.
Yep, I'm with you.
Sort of unfortunate overlap.
Yeah.
Yes, but no. As soon as you said it, I was like,
oh god. Yep.
Yeah, it was great.
So good.
So, with them and nap and fail that. Time to dig into books. We cut over to Cloak, who left the green. What did you head up to do, or head
First,
off to do?
It's the three of them. So who went to watch the announcement from Enright. So one of them needs to attend to shift supervision, or at least check in. So he'd probably have some brief interaction with them and ask them how they felt about Mortimer, what impressions they get, because this is something I'd like to mention to you, Drew, and this will be helpful information for everyone else, depending on how they delve into or participate in the NPCs and associated with Cloak. But so with the mystery cult, one additional thing he's looking for once he's getting people to the point where they've passed through initiation into the priesthood is if they'd be well suited for his version of the Tonton Makut. So remember, he was part of that, my version of the hit squad. Papa Doc's hit squad in Haiti, but in the past. And so they're doing some things to try and stabilize the country after emancipation, after the liberation of the island. And anyway, so Cloak realizes his error, that 9 days that he spent locked in the room after his mentor died. And when he awakened, he realized that the skills he's learned could be put to good purpose. And that although he should not have been participating in an endeavor to further oppress Haitians and other formerly enslaved people, he should be using those skills in that perspective to try and liberate people who are still dealing with slavery. So in his mind, he's in the not in the new world, he's in the US. And if he can start well and recruit enough people, he could do something about slavery and destabilizing many of the oppressive elements in the US government and the society at large. So with that said, because the sisters have reached that point in the cult where they are privy to all of the leadership, then he'd be engaging them in, all right, do you think this is the person who are targets? Like, they're having regular conversations at this point now. It's just like, do you want to do this? You heard about the Tonton Makut. He's told them that he was a part of the Tonton Makut, and he only became leader of the cult because he was, taught the error of his ways. Yeah, he was pushed into it by the person he was originally sent to take out. So that'd be one of the things he'd be talking to them about. Mm-hmm. So now I'm happy to go through with whatever thread you want.
No, because I think that's probably the, on the walk up to the mine. Because let's be honest, the mine is not like right next to the town. It's right up in the hills where the town is a little bit closer to the river, where it's a little bit more flat. I think it's, a conversation back and forth, and to kind of put, words in their mouths, for you. I mean, we don't care about Mortimer. Like, he's a scientist. He doesn't have any, he's from England. He's not useful to us here, both here being Purgatory Bluff, but also in the US. Actually, a quick note, for those of you who are rusty on your U.S. history. This is 1846, which means it is before the Civil War. It is before emancipation. Slavery is all over the U.S. So, yeah. I think they double down and no, we need to work on Warner and Ike, this spot here first. And, I don't know if one of them is more tactically minded than the other, but it's like, this is the testing ground for what change we can make. And if we can do it here, then we can, expand farther. It's not like, we're not, marching to Washington, D.C. and going to fix this. But yeah, I apologize because I do not have a voice for them in my head yet.
That's totally cool.
But getting up to the mines, because I imagine all three of you head up to the mines, and one of you is going to stay there.
That's right.
At this point, we are getting towards the evening. I have so many tabs, and none of them are cloak. Jean Paul. Because as it is getting close to evening, there's the two mines that are not necessarily next to each other, but they're, close-ish. And you can see Marina, who is outside. Sorry, and I'm double checking another factoid.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Ash, what is Gisela's father's name? Friedrich,
yeah. He is one of the miners.
There we go. Yeah, I was double checking what shift he was on. Yeah, he's on the first shift, so he's left and he's probably back home, or it will be headed home. Marina is outside and is in my head. These mines are close enough that like they can interact. They're not like on mile apart or anything like that.
Yeah.
But Marina is there. And she is the third shift leader. Basically, she lives. She's as close to a vampire as we're going to get. Gang. Very, very evening oriented. She wakes, like a little bit before dinner, does her day while the sun is still up and there's people, and then her work starts well after the sun is set. But yeah, late 30s, black bob, brown eyes, very pale skin. She definitely is, like I said, very kind of vampiric kind of vibe. But she's like 5'2" and small. She's very petite, but she is, petite doesn't necessarily, she's got that gymnast build. A lot of, muscle and stuff like that. And some of that is because, she used to be a miner until she became, a shift leader. And she and Tahoma Ramos, who is the second shift leader. Are basically arguing in basically a pidgin of a couple different languages. Neither of them actually speak the same language, but they both speak a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it's something that you hear, especially in the mines, especially in their mine, like because you've got the first shift leader who's led by Edgar, and he's Norwegian, and he speaks a little bit of English, and it's just this whole thing. But the two of them are arguing, and they're holding in their hand a lamp. Big, metal encased looking lamp. And when they see the three of you arrive, Tahoma kind of gives you a look, but Marina kind of brightens up a little bit, and they wave the three of you over and kind of move away from their mind towards yours. Both, the sounds of work, coming from all of them. And Marina passes over this lamp. For us outside, it's a Davey safety lamp. So it's this very enclosed kind of thing. And Marina passes it over in French, because this is why she likes you, because you guys could have a real conversation. Right. And she basically says, do you see this crap? They expect us to put these all throughout the mines.
So Cloak holds it in his hands, looks at it, and says, Warner and his new associate told me about this earlier.
Oh, he gave you a heads up.
Yes, he's disrespectful to women. No, he would say he's disrespectful to all other than aggressive men. Marina,
who is a third shift. Well, you're talking about Mortimer.
Yeah. Mortimer. Okay, yeah, sorry, fair enough.
Yeah. Cool. I was like, no, Warner's cool.
Warner's fine.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you though. Interesting. So this, and kind of get a recap on who Mortimer is, because they've been working, or in Marina's case, she was asleep. Interesting. Okay, so he's the one who brought this crap, and basically getting you up to speed. Basically, they think this is going to really darken up the mines. And the miners are not going to be happy, because nobody wants to work in the anything darker. And Marina's group especially, they're the ones who go into the mine when it's dark. They come out of the mine and it's basically dark. The sun might start to be coming up. So they're the ones especially, and probably on your side of things, these are probably the miners that are most likely for you to be able to recruit and give some training on.
Perfect.
But yeah, and Marina
That's what I was hoping for.
Right. And Marina basically makes a comment of the miners are going to pitch a fit.
Why will it make it darker?
And in short,
just looking at one, it looks like it will.
Right.
No, I get that out of character. This is Cloak asking for them to be really explicit about what their expectations are.
Oh yeah. Well, and she holds it up and points out, these big plates that are on the side of it and different things like that, that as far as you can see, looks like it will block a lot of, because, normally these lamps are, big glass encased flame. This has got all of a sudden these plates on it all over the place, and it, restricts stuff getting in. Or light getting out, rather. And, she's like, as soon as we start to hang these up and replace the old ones, and she's probably being a little bit overly dramatic, but she's like, the miners are going to strike. They're going to have a fit. Warner's going to have to come down here and promise, higher pay or something. There's a lot of, we don't want change. Which, especially after 2 months ago, all these Bruins showed up. The miners are like, okay, hang on, can we just get things to be just normal for just a little bit?
Yeah, it makes sense. So Cloak looks down at the lamp, and then passes it back to Edgar. Oh, he's not there. Sorry. It's just Tahoma and Marina. Sorry, when you mentioned Edgar, I thought for some reason the three of them there. Right. He was going to have Edgar hold it for for a reason. But anyway, so Cloak puts it on the ground. and looks at Marina and says, "They might not strike. I have told you." Oh, no, he says, "We have told you how we conduct our mining. Everyone contributes their thoughts. Everyone is heard. I think we should see if this gives greater safety. Life is more important than sight."
I agree, but I don't know that I'll be able to convince the miners of this. They're already on edge. We had one collapse 2 weeks ago, and everybody's on edge. We had several miners wounded. You had your own issues, and now we have this, and this Mortimer. And what? Well, actually, you met him. Does he have other plans for the mine?
He has plans for the area. I'm certain that the mine will be involved.
I don't like him. I haven't met him yet. I don't like him.
He is a British. What do you say? He is a British scholar. He looks like his hands have never touched dirt.
Some joke. Yeah, I think Marina would probably make some joke about Brits in general, because at this point, I think we're well into the Brits hate the French, and vice versa. Yeah.
So then
overshot that boat by about 800 years.
Oh yeah, that's true. Okay, yeah.
There was a time when that
Cloak would say, what matters more is whether or not this will allow us to keep people safe. If this will allow us to keep people safe, he turns to Sanite and Messije, and he says, we can persuade the other miners to accept it if that is what you want. However, you are the shift leader.
I'll talk to my boys, and I'm sure I'll get them to see reason. I'm just trying to figure out how to convince them that it is safer, because if it works, they'll never notice.
Well, I have learned that we all take things for granted unless reminded of that. As you have told me, some of your crew take you for granted many times because of your stature and your gender.
I don't know that that's actually going to be factual.
Okay,
yeah,
fair
no.
enough.
Marina is, while it's definitely a begrudging respect because it's a woman, but at the same time, there's a reason she's a shift leader. Like, she gets shit done.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Now that said, it's probably not all the miners who do that, but her shift at least, they've seen her get a pickaxe and just rip stuff apart. But yes,
fantastic. I wasn't trying to assume that everyone wasn't respecting her.
Mm-hmm.
Just that perhaps if there were some grumbles, she had shared the cloak. But I'm happy to update my understanding of her experience.
Yeah, you're on the right page. But yeah, she nods, and then kind of, are you all putting these up?
We are going to try them. As I told Mortimer, we're not afraid of the dark, but we do prize safety.
Well, I can always, play to their pride.
Yes.
You all are putting them up. They can't handle it.
They struggle with weakness and challenge.
Yeah, I think Marina kind of puffs up. It was like, those are my boys you're talking about. I think, all things considered, they're pulling their fair share.
They are strong. They are capable miners. What I mean is, pride is... Cloak's looking for like a euphemism, like a Haitian euphemism. There is something we learn when we devote ourselves to the dictates of our Metet and allow ourselves to be mounted by the Loa, which is that Bonjie has many things in store for us, but we don't get access to them unless we yield. And pride is a stop against our ability to yield. I acknowledge, or no, you say, I recognize that many people who have not gone through what I and we have gone through are more inclined to assume that someone telling them what they should do is always an affront to their ability to be their truest or best self.
I think Marina kind of gives you this, because I'm sure Cloak has given this kind of, I don't want to say speech, but this.
Can I make a present expression? Sorry, can I make a presence plus expression roll to have some influence on her?
Yeah.
By the nature of his words. Excellent. Sheet roll. What the heck? Where does that come up? Huh. I clicked on sheet roll and it didn't work. Where do I click in order to roll on the sheet?
Did you select the 2 attributes you were rolling?
Oh, okay, gotcha. You got to select things. Okay, that makes sense. You got to highlight them.
They'll glow blue.
And remember to deselect them once you're done, otherwise it allows you to
Cool.
Not
that
keep adding them.
Not
Unless
that
you
Craig has ever
select
done
one from every category.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to select 5 things.
You can roll like
roll
presence,
it.
gnosis, and an arcana, and it'll do that.
Cool. Spending a willpower.
Okay.
Let's see. That's right. I don't have any specialties. Great. And Cloak's decent at expression. So let's get rid of that. Oh, I see where it is. Let's cancel this. Cool. Sheet roll. Normal.
Oh, there may be a pop-up
modifier.
window.
I see. There's now input value for modifier. So put in the modifier from willpower. Submit.
Correct.
There we go. Great.
Bingo. Presence, expression, oh yeah. 10 dice. So I think, and this has probably been an ongoing thing, and we may need to talk about off-stream. We'll talk about possibly having doors with Marina to try and bring her over. But
Perfect.
we won't do that necessarily right now.
I figured we start after this session, considering once he has people's. I also want to roll no nature at the end, of course, but considering once he has the information, I'm all for social influence.
Yep. But yeah, so she looks, and like you said, this is probably a frequent thing that she's heard, especially her being the shift leader and all the opportunities she has to talk to you, and in some cases has to talk to you, either you or the sisters, just because, hey, we need to borrow that cart or, whatever. These opportunities are there, and, she's heard this a lot. But here, like, being, presented with, a new challenge, and you guys are just rolling with it and like, oh, okay, they want us to do this, fine, whatever. Marina goes, okay, well, yeah, I guess that's true. And I'll remind the miners that, hey, unlike the mines I'm used to, they're not paying for the candles. Right. Thanks, Ash. Ash keeping us historically accurate. So we don't have to, pay for candles here. This is all Warner, and he's providing these, and it also as a slight out of character, backtracking thing. This also explains the weird flurry of activity down at the smithy, where they make some nails, they make some horseshoes, but all of a sudden, like, the smith, I can't remember his name, and like his apprentices are like out in full force, banging out a bunch of these little things, which people may or may not have noticed depending on how observant they are of the blacksmith. So a bunch of these are being whipped up. And so Marina kind of nods and goes, okay, that's fair, and I hadn't really thought about that. doesn't really upset me to be told what to do. I guess they can deal with it too. Okay. Well, if nothing else, once you all have your lamps set up, maybe then I can get them to stop grumbling about ours.
You can wait until then. We will tell you when that's done.
Actually, that's a good idea. And looking over to Tahoma. Ooh, actually, let me pull up Tahoma real quick and double check. Okay, new plan. Figure out how to open every single character in a separate tab and just have all of them open at the same time.
That's real nice.
In kind of broken Spanish, chatting with Tahoma. Like I said, that pigeon that they have kind of back and forth, because Spanish is just close enough to French that they can kind of bumble through, at least for conversational stuff. And there's
Cloak has learned to speak Spanish with them.
Okay, cool. So kind of following along and maybe providing an additional word here or there to help things along. They basically come to the conclusion of, yeah, that's what we'll do. We'll let you guys set up the lamps first, and because that will let her and Tahoma basically influence the second and third shift. First shift, which is the shift everybody wants, and that's the cushy job. Those tend to be the more well cared for, and for as far as the shifts are concerned, that's the better gig. They don't tend to complain because they don't want to rock the boat and end up on second or worse third shift. But if we get them to deal with it, then we might make some progress. And Tahoma has a back and forth with Marina, and it basically comes down to, all right, if they're willing to do it, I'll start working with the second shift. And it sounds like basically Tahoma was with the miners and like, fuck this thing. I don't want to go in there. I'm not going to do it. Well, okay. Our neighbors are going to do it. All right, fine. We'll see how it works for them. And basically, Marina puts forth, once you all have your lamps put up, you cool with Tahoma and I coming down and looking at it and maybe bringing a couple of the loudmouths and being like, it's not that dark.
Yeah, so Cloak puts on the smile he's been trying to train himself to express, considering he does care for people.
It fixes a smile mask.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. So he's not a subtle person, right? In any respect, physically, mentally, or socially, right? He's blunt. He's as subtle as a sledgehammer.
Sure.
So he's been trying to manifest a way to make them feel a little more comfortable in the casual interactions, not just I'm going to say some nice words and use the magnitude of my presence to influence you. So this slight little smile goes up on his face, and he looks at both of them and says, yes, you can come and inspect. It has only been 2 months, but I think of you as allies, and I want you to continue thinking of me that way. And Cloak extends his hands to try and shake both of their hands.
Yeah. Marina immediately shakes your hand. You two have had a pretty good, thing. Tahoma doesn't probably does. Well, I think probably at the same time, kind of as the handshake happens, kind of pats your shoulder at the same time, and kind of not necessarily avoiding a handshake, just like at the same time. Okay, yeah, this sounds good. And then Tahoma's like, quick, like, hey, I gotta get back into the mine because I do not trust my assholes. Somebody's gonna be slacking off. Thanks for, he basically in Spanish, French pidgin that we've, figured out, basically says, thanks for being the guinea pig. And we'll see how this all works out, as he kind of makes his way back to work before there's complaints. Marina kind of leans up against some post, supporting some exterior structure or whatever, and once Tahoma is gone, asks, so this Mortimer has other plans for the area. And at this point, like, Marina has kind of dropped the workman attitude, and
cool.
She's out on shift. She's gonna little casual conversation, and is after the scuttlebutt, after the rumors and stuff like that. And, what's he after?
I know he wants to do something big and important to him?
Sounds like every, Ponzi, Brit I've ever met.
I don't know what it is. I want to find out. No, Cloak says, I'm going to find out because I need to know if it will endanger any of us.
Marina kind of like lifts her head, rolls her shoulders, and says, if he's, hi, well, this is 1846. It's not like I can't curse. If he's wanting to fuck with our miners, you let me know. And
of course,
he can just have an accident in the mine and nobody finds his body.
Cloak is, has she said things like this to him before?
She is rabidly protective of her miners. If they end up on her shift, the shit shift, she's very mama bear about them.
Cool. Gotcha. I just mean violent stuff. Cloak is familiar with that, so I just want to know if this has been established or this would be the first time he reacts to it.
She is big, boisterous. It's very much the woman in the boys club kind of thing. She's loud. Yeah. She's confrontational, and the idea of
almost to a point of overcompensational.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
kick his ass.
Yeah. She's small. She's loud, and threats of violence are fairly frequent, and is also one of the reasons why she's on third shift, because she's said things to Warner and Ike before. And they're like, well, you can work third shift instead of second shift.
Gotcha. Okay, so then Cloak looks at her, right, and nods and says, if he intends to harm the people I care about, he won't continue to live.
Have you made these kind of death threats before?
So that's it. He hasn't threatened any of them. He's just made it clear that he takes this stuff seriously. So I imagine that he hasn't needed to say it explicitly to Warner or Ike. He's like, through presence or death stares and stuff like that, probably intimidated them severely in the past.
Sure.
So
specifically
in response to what she says, he would have told her that he's no stranger to violence and death. So it's just something you need to do sometimes. It's relishing in it that it's the real problem that affects your soul. So that's the insight, of course, he learned, right? So when he says that, he's like, he wouldn't live anymore, would not let him continue to live.
If I mentioned that I like you, Cloak.
Cloak says, thank you. I like you.
I'm going to grab a beer before my shift actually starts, and kind of pats you on the shoulder and like gives the sisters a nod. Well, what one sister's probably still here, if the other has gone to the mine, and kind of heads down towards town. Now that she's kind of checked in and heard all this bullshit, and she's going to do some of her own recon.
That makes sense to me. So as the last little bit for the scene, I said I wanted to cast Know Nature a couple of times. Would those contacts between Marina and Tahoma be sufficient?
Oh, yeah. Like if you were casting at the time, that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, great. Then I'm going to cast Know Nature twice, if that's okay with you, or I'll cast it with scale in the area.
Either works for me.
Makes sense. Okay, gotcha. Then I'll cast it. I'll cast it once. All right. Let's get that spell roll template. Cool. So, cast some praxis. I need one for instant cast and one for scale. And then, cast twice. I'm going to take the paradox. So, one for instant cast, one for scale, and then one for the reach for aspirations and obsessions.
Okay.
So, 3 reach, I have 2. 2. Gnosis 1. Arcanum 2. Penalties to increase potency, don't need to do that. Don't need to increase duration or scale because it's just the immediate area. 1 bonus from Yantra. Bonus from other sources is 3 from willpower.
Boom.
And then
love this thing.
Yeah, it's great. So
Are
calculate
you
die
spending
pool
mana?
is I will spend mana. Yeah,
Okay.
so it'll be a chance die.
Okay. And so that chance die comes up as Bupkis.
Cool. Great. So 7 dice. That's 1 willpower spent and 1 mana.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Give me a dramatic failure.
Oh, on the spell. I got to go remember what dramatic failures on spells do. Zoop.
Gives you arcane beat.
Hmm?
An arcane beat.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then also gain a condition based on the intended outcome of the spell.
Cool.
Well, actually, considering the time, we won't stress about that right now, and we'll talk about it here in a minute. Well, actually, actually, I think this is probably going to be a without trying to like give it a specific name, similar to the embarrassed thing we did with Chris. When somebody else tries to find what you're up to and effectively rolling to know your nature, probably not necessarily a spell, you'll have either a -2 to contest, or they'll have a +2. And it'll be on your call when that actually comes in, and you want to give over that bonus because that's how conditions work. But yeah,
we call it open book.
Ooh, I like that. Yeah,
that's good. Yeah, that's really good. I have a suggestion then in that regard. How about a penalty to subterfuge for concealing emotions?
Potentially.
But just as a context, it doesn't have to be the only application.
But that is the same kind of thing. Yeah, if you're trying to conceal emotions, or if, like, say Mortimer comes to figure out what are you doing. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Great. I'll write that down.
Cool. And we have 8 minutes left. Does anybody have a short scene?
Is Isabel doing? We haven't checked it on you.
Yeah, I know. Because Isabel had the bit, and notably, I think because that's probably where we'll end up picking up next time, because that'll be in the tavern where we will have all sorts of conversations. But we can definitely set that up if there's. Okay, yeah. So you're heading into the tavern after your trip. You remember that, an hour ago.
Hours.
Yeah.
At this point, yep.
And within the tavern, it's Madame Henriette, right? Trying to get the pronunciation correct.
Madame Henriette.
And
Madame Robert is probably how she would wish to be addressed.
Oh, that's true. Yes. Is in full we're entertaining guests mode. Because she's a proper lady, and so she is zooming around, cleaning stuff up, adjusting chairs and getting the handful of tables that are there, get the chairs lined up straight and neat and orderly.
In my vision of it, a lot is that, like, she is running a business, but she's running it as her home. And she does live above it, right? So, and much like a sort of, well-to-do woman would, like, we that work for her are the help.
Oh, right.
So I don't see her doing.
You don't think
much,
she
like, manually or anything like that?
Okay.
Adjusting a chair, perfecting a thing, looking over our work, more things, and then talking to people.
Right.
Is really how I and that's what you were describing. I was like firmly saying, no, this is definitely how I see her working and stuff like that.
Yeah. And yeah, because she's trading you and Arcelia. Make sure I get my names right.
Arcelia.
And basically chasing you to not chasing you guys, as far as I understand, are perfectly awesome staff. Yep. And getting things kind of neat and orderly, and I feel like, especially talking about her, while this is definitely a tavern that has some rough customers, when the miners come in, she keeps them on like best behavior. Otherwise you get thrown out, and then you have no more access to booze other than whatever they're trying to brew up in the barracks. there's probably some folks, who are in town, especially any of the farmers who brought in stuff or anything like that. When, Mortimer comes in with Jules and Rilla, Warner on right, you can kind of see like leaving and going to his, almost said wagon, his coach, because you better believe that dude does not walk up and down the big hill. She quickly like steps forward, I think, to, take Mortimer and take him to the better seat in the house. They're all the same, but it's a little bit closer to the little, the pride and joy of. Yes. It was either going to be that or, the piano. Actually, you probably don't want to sit right next to the piano because then it's loud. Yeah. That perfect spot, is probably, sitting him down and then sitting down herself with him, and, the others and, motioning for you, probably you to come over because you're the single woman, and to come.
So far as everyone in town knows, yes.
Get drinks and stuff like that. And of course, Jules is there and watching you. And there's some eye, back and forth. And Mortimer, basically, I don't know. Booze people, help me out here. What's he ordering to drink?
Gin. Certainly.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I knew that.
We definitely Warner definitely has gin in town, right?
Oh yeah.
There is gin, there is whiskey, and there is beer. And,
he has a horse named Juniper for sure.
And the Spanish and Mexican among the town make sure that there is tequila. And that's it.
Yep.
Those are your 4 choices.
Yeah.
Wine, a little mezcal.
Yeah. And I would actually, it would, because Warner can have gin up at his house.
Sure.
Yeah. And so I'm curious, would that make its way down to the tavern? And this is me just being unaware of, scarcity of drink and such. But
it's not hard to make.
Yeah.
Specifically in the Southwest, there are enough plants that are similar enough in nature to juniper to make pretty good gin.
Oh, okay.
So there could definitely be
probably made here in.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Probably actually there at the tavern, out back or some
kind of still
like
out back.
Yeah.
I had gin made with Southwestern junipers. It was really good.
Cool. Ordering, gin and, other, various drinks. Miners are probably the only ones who drink beer. Basically, Madame Robert, is not laying it on thick, but she's being a good host to Mortimer. And Rilla and Jules are just like sitting there watching the conversation, which basically means most of the time is Jules watching you get drinks and walk back and forth, and
take a break for a song here and there, and
right. And I think Arcelia, because similar to the whole Bartolome family, like. I'm going to say this, but don't make it weird. The Bartolome family would love to see like the entire town married. And, like they're very much on that big family. Oh, we should all be married. Everybody
married into their family
in one way or another. Yeah. And, or extended family and stuff like that. Yeah.
Everybody's a cousin.
Exactly that. Arcelia is like has immediate pings of Jules to Isabel, and goes, oh yeah, no, go sing. Go ahead.
In light of that, I want to make sure that I understand how a thing works.
Oh,
with regard to spirits. Any like well-used object is going to have sort of a moat of a spirit, right?
As far as I am concerned, every object has a moat, regardless if it's being well-used or not.
Okay. And you could sort of, what is the spell? Coaxing the spirit, you can make a thing. You can make the moat do a thing with its object, right?
Yep.
So
A thing it normally could do, yeah.
I want to do that to my flute.
Mm-hmm.
To like almost add like a sort of a ghostly ghostly might not be the right word, but like ephemeral, like almost like second voice to the flute.
Ooh,
Like
okay.
I'm laying it on thick and putting on a show because it's like the crowd is starting to come in.
Mhm.
I am trying to entertain on behalf of both, doing my job and also that one over there.
Right.
If you're going to be in town for at least a little while, I might as well
Right.
have fun plucking and picking at you.
Mhm.
I'm not actually interested, but
Fun to play with.
He doesn't know.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't know that.
Right. Cool. So just to give you an idea, this is definitely going to be withstood by rank 1. Because I know motes are technically rank 0, but considering how often you use your flute,
And it's from an imbued, or it's a perfected item.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah, so yeah, it's definitely rank 1 at least. So we'll say yes, it is rank 1.
Cool. Well, it's potency spell, and I got 2 spirit, so that's
There we go.
cool. Just need a reach for instant, I think.
Yes, because you're touching it. You don't
I'm
need it
touching
for a
it
long
and
duration.
playing.
And Death Fox, I think you might be right. And yeah, I will kind of echo. This might be obvious magic. Well, maybe
Well, let's
not.
see if I cast the spell first.
That's fair. Yeah.
I don't think it's obvious. I think it's strange,
Right. Yeah. Because it's
but
probably
I don't
not
think
actually.
it's obvious.
Yeah. Because it's a strange thing, not obviously magic. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Reach 1, 2. And because it is affected Ethereum? That 10?
It
Oh,
is-
Yeah, Cassiterum.
That has bonuses to spirit spells. All correctly?
I don't think it's.
I think it's some spirit spells. Let's see.
Why do I-
Cassiterum has bonuses to summoning spells.
So
And there's a
yeah.
But if
special
you're-
association with summoning entities, yeah.
And if you're using, but the thing is, if you're using it for a spirit spell, because it is Cassiterum, if you're using it as a tool, that
Yeah.
gives you the 10 again?
9 again.
9
Yeah,
again.
gives you 9 again. Yeah, with your path.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so not actually a summoning spell.
Correct.
Okay.
Thing about that's always been a little confusing to me is there aren't that many summoning spells, like truly summoning spells. It's like ghost summons, right? Like maybe you can bring a spirit forth, but some of
Ghost
the language
okay.
around it is
Okay,
dated from
that's fine.
how summoning was an actual spell in first edition.
Mm-hmm. And I use it, I'm cool with it being like used for like supernal. Even though
Oh,
it's not
great.
a
Okay,
spell.
gotcha. Yeah, that's what I'm touching on.
Okay,
That,
so
it
it'd be a rod in this case,
I think so.
right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying to work out how it works as a yantra.
Mhm.
Like it's tied enough to the Primal Wilds for it to qualify as a path tool
Mhm,
of
right.
some sort, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
in this case, it'd be a rod, so
I
it'd be
think
worth
so.
a 1, and I get 9 again, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry,
Quite all right.
I'm definitely putting a willpower into that one.
3 + 4 is 7.
Or 7.
That's going to be our number for
Two?
quite a long
2
time.
successes.
And go ahead and roll a expression check of some form. I imagine presence to tie along with this.
Sure. Yeah.
And give yourself a +2 bonus for, having this otherworldly well, literally otherworldly assistance.
That's cool. It's real cool.
My focus would be here as well. Or my specialization. I keep calling focus because we played fucking
Star Trek
for so
Adventures,
long.
man. Go check it out if you haven't seen it. It's on
3,
YouTube.
4, and you said a +2.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 11 dice.
Wow.
2 successes.
Sounds right.
That's all you need.
Sounds about right.
Yep. But yeah, it definitely like you get. I imagine that. Do you get up on like the bar, or is there a small stage?
There's like I think there's a clear enough area around like where the piano is set up that it's not a stage, but it's. I think everyone that has been there more than once knows that that Isabel is likely to be moving through this area, and between tables and a bit of there's a twirl to her. Like putting on a show, right?
Right,
like
absolutely.
It's, like eyes are drawn to her, and this whole bit is just kind of a sad. It's all in Spanish, and it's notes and a few measures, and then stopping to sing, and then but those notes keep going just an extra second longer and stuff like that, and. It is a story of, of chance meetings and unrequited love and lost opportunities and stuff like that, right?
And poor Jules doesn't speak a lick of Spanish, but it doesn't matter.
But it sounds pretty.
Right.
This is enchanting.
Exactly
right.
that.
Literally.
Yeah. Literally using an enchanted flute to, play this with the help of a, spirit. Yeah. And yeah, it basically like the conversation like abates.
Dies.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, and everybody's like, okay, we're going to sit and watch this. And like, as you finish, the silence continues that little bit longer as people are like, okay, yeah. What were we talking about? And you just have that little bit of, and I'm sure there's that the stroke to your pride of like, yeah. But conversation starts to build back up again once it's clear like the song has ended, there's not another verse and there's not another song coming. You definitely hear Madame Robert continuing to prod and like, what are you doing? How long are you going to be here? Because she's like, I don't feel like she is she has rooms to like lend for overnight stay.
No.
But she probably has that kind of landlady. I have a room that you can have for like a month,
Specifically, I have one of these.
Right. Mm-hmm. I imagine she doesn't have many, but, a visitor coming through and stuff like that. Because, all the normal house stuff, kitchens and stuff like that, that's all downstairs anyways. Right. So she's got that space up there to use. She's prodding, trying to figure out how long you're going to be here. But we'll figure that stuff out next time. So thank you all for joining us. It has been so good to be back. I loved being a player, but man, did I miss Mage. No, one of these days I'll manage to get Chris to run again, and so I can play Mage again.
My only question is whether Theo was working tonight as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, was Theo there? Or is that something we'll find out next week?
No, Theo would not have been there. She'd have gone home.
Okay. Especially after the revelation and what did I do? Perhaps
sort of a fight or flight. Like, is this a sign that we need to leave right now?
That's true. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is this a place where we should put down roots?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. But yes, thank you all for joining us. If you want to join the conversation, hang out with us. We'd love to chat with you guys, and our community is literally the best community ever. I can say that. I've checked with lawyers. We're approved. Come by. That's yeetinto.space. And you can join our Discord. That's HTTP or even www, whatever, yeetinto.space. That'll take you there. You've probably seen the stuff in the little thing cycling. Yeah, see, there it is. Yeet into .space. Come by Discord, hang out. We have a little channel for Twitch spoilers where you can come in and talk about what you just watched and whatever. There's also some other channels for talking about our other mini series that we've put on or the previous Rookery. So yes, come by there or just hang out in the bird channel where we post pictures of birds and what was the dog?
Bush
the bush
dogs.
dog? Bush
Bush
dogs.
dog.
Newest friend is a very
Certainly
good
an
friend.
animal. It's very good.
It's friendship.
Yep. So hang out there with us there. It is very friend-shaped. I want to hug it and squeeze it and make it mine. If you want to support us monetarily, that's patreon.com/Occultists Anonymous, which is really boring to type. Put in staylucky.club instead. And you can support us there. And as of probably tomorrow, our Conca will be open to the public, so you guys can see these characters and stuff like that. Patrons who are currently in the Sleepwalker tier will have the option to add notes to the entities, locations, and stuff like that to stuff. So if you want to leave a comment of how much you love Cloak or stuff like that, preferably not just little one-off comments like that, but if you want to help contribute to basically what is effectively the Into the West wiki, that is an option for the Sleepwalker tier. And I do have the ability to see what stuff gets posted, so I can delete stuff. Don't be weird and inappropriate, guys. But it is also going to eventually be full of spoilers, so, browse at your own risk. But that is going to be available Saturday, as long as I can make sure I figure out the button and make sure I got the permissions all correct, because if somebody deletes all this stuff, I'll be very upset. So I got to make sure that stuff is all set up. But yeah, Conca will be available to everybody. TriatCon is coming next weekend. All my tickets have sold out. I think all yours have sold out. But there are a bunch of other games. Specifically, I'm playing an Eclipse phase, and I think there's
cool.
2 more spaces open for it. I'm going to be playing an uplifted parrot, unless if I have to fight something.
Wonderful.
I'm trying to remember what the morph is called. It's like a chickadee or something like that. It's kind of like a bird but with extra arms, and it's based off of like a Caribbean mythological creature, and I'm super excited. They look like a bunch of fun. Yes, Conca, not Kunka. But thank you, Perry. So again, thank you all for being with us and hanging out and putting up with me basically bailing on Mage for a couple months so I could just kind of recoup, and we've got this new setup for this crew, and I'm super excited to have them. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. I'm so pleased. YouTube guys, there's only one YouTube thing going up, so you've watched all of it. We'll see you on the next one. Twitch guys, we'll see you on
later
Friday.
Tonight when you join us live.
Maybe not even be tonight. Maybe in 2 days. Yeah. I'm aiming for Wednesdays.
Okay.
That's nice.
Yeah, they may possibly start going up early for patrons on Monday. We'll see how that all works. So yes, Patreon is going to be getting some uplifts. Facelifts.
Uplifted parrots.
Uplifted
parrots for Patreons.
Is Eclipse Phase coming
Patreons.
Again, I'm just glad to be back, and we will see you guys around. Catch you next.
That's right. See you later.